It's a cold, blustery night here in southwestern Ontario. If you ask football people, it's a perfect night for playoff action. And indeed, we do have it here on We Digital. It's the OFC semifinal matchup between the Ottawa Sooners and the St. Clair Saints football team. Badia Kwas, as always, joins us on the broadcast. Good evening to everybody. And also, we want to welcome the viewers in the Ottawa area taking in tonight's action. I think this is a great matchup, Badia. I'm not going to sugarcoat this one at all. I think this Ottawa team is the real deal. They came in here a couple weeks back, gave St. Clair a scare, really opened their eyes. This is going to be a tough game.
100%. The last time, 2 points, which is what the differential was. Unbelievably played game. Both teams made mistakes. Both teams made explosive plays. Special teams played a big role. Looking forward for more of that in semifinal action.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers. First, I want to take a look at the final regular season standings, and you can see St. Clair did hold on to the game with Ottawa, but a tough game nonetheless. 8-0 though, a perfect season for the Saints. London, they finished in second, and from what we understand, and we'll have more information as the broadcast goes on. You and Justin Prince will have more information, but London does defeat Hamilton today. We'll get you the details later on. Ottawa, there you can see, gets the 4th seed. They were tied with Hamilton, but it was the regular season tiebreaker that made the difference. And I know you and I were both saying, boy, this Ottawa team, I thought they were a little bit better than Hamilton, actually.
100%. Looking at this, at the beginning of the year, everyone expected the Saints to go 8-0. Everyone expected London to be second. And Hamilton usually has a good reputation being where they are, but this year, clearly, the eyeball test. I thought Ottawa was significantly better than Hamilton. Well, guess what? They have to come down the 401, and they have to try to beat the top team. You got to go through everyone anyway. But yes, Ottawa is for real, even though they have that record and they lost the tiebreaker to Hamilton.
Take a look at the season comparisons in the passing department. Ottawa, very good there. 111 completions, beneath to Saints 93. The attempts 185, so they obviously like to throw the ball. Yardage, pretty even yardage-wise. TD's dead even at 13, but again, here's a team that can play some offense.
Absolutely, and the thing is with Ottawa is they're not necessarily heavy in one position. They will spread the ball out a little bit. Their quarterback has the ability to actually move the pocket as well with his feet, so he presents a challenge, and when push comes to shove, they can still run the ball a little bit, so they will present a challenge to the Saint defense. And the Saints, their numbers might be a little bit compressed considering they were up by so many in so many games. They aren't going to really throw the ball all that often in the fourth quarter of many of the games.
That's a good point you bring up. Let's take a look at the rushing numbers. And again, to Badia's point, though, not to make excuses, the Saints a lot of times, starters didn't even see the second half. So the numbers could have been a lot bigger if you really think about it. But, it doesn't matter what you put on paper. It's what you do out on the field, right? Rushing, you can see, can we get that back up? If we can get that stat back up, please, that would be great. Thank you. Again, St. Clair, 231 yards per game, a significant number. And I think a lot of that belongs to number 24.
Absolutely. That young man, and he's ready to shine today. Doyle Marshall is ready to explode. Didn't get a bulk of carries throughout the game. I don't know if he had a single game where he had 20 attempts in a single game. Hey, it's playoff time. There's nothing left in the tank. They're probably going to need him. And if he does get 20 attempts, he might get the full balance of the 230 in a single game by himself, let alone anyone else running.
Yeah, you can see the Fratman with, or the Fratman, wow. First time I did that this season.
10
wow.
push-ups.
That's it. 10, Coach Morency's going to make me do about 20 or 30. 19 touchdowns rushing this season, though. Again, another significant number. We've been here so many times now, Badi, and the Saints, the coaching staff with so much experience. This is nothing new to them. How do you think they approach practice this week? And again, I think they respect Ottawa quite a bit.
Yeah, unlike years past where the semifinal has been just a little bit of a tune-up for the final, this one had to be addressed with the intensity that you can actually lose this game, evidenced by the last game at 28-26. The reality of it is, if the Saints don't take care of the ball, don't take stupid penalties, make sure that they are all facets, special teams, offense, defense, are firing. If they're not, they could very well lose this game. So the approach in practice has been, hey, we have a competitor coming in, somebody willing to fight back. Now, we do know how good the Saints can be. If that team shows up, I suspect they can win this game handily, but I will not put money on that.
Well, there's a lot of riding on this game, obviously. If you're the Ottawa team, though, Biddy, I want to get into them a little bit. Going back again, we keep going back to that game here a couple weeks ago. I think that's a confidence builder for this team. I think they come here feeling, we're with this team.
Yeah, Ottawa started off a little sluggish, and then they got on a roll, and they got that momentum going into that game. And despite the loss, it felt like a win. When you travel that far down and you lose to the perennial powerhouse by 2 points, and you had a chance to win the game in the final 3 minutes, you have no choice but to build on that. All the players that came down and made this trip, player for player, we went toe-to-toe against the champ, and we went the distance. Now they're just looking for that knockout punch.
Yeah. Today has been a cold, blustery kind of fall day here, Biddy. Things have settled now. The rain has stopped. We've had rain all day. You were down on the field, turf field. Did you get a chance to look at it? Is it going to be tough, or do you change anything because of the rain today?
Absolutely not. The field is wonderful. The footing should be fantastic. I don't think it'll affect anything. I don't even think there's enough moisture on the ground to even impact the ball. Unless it actually comes down and rains, the ball's not going to absorb anything. This field drains exceptionally well, so both teams should not be affected by that. The wind might be just a little bit up, but not enough where I think it's going to be a super factor in the passing game. Maybe the special teams, the kicking game, the wind could influence it. But other than that, unless there's a downpour, I think the footing in the field is going to be just fine for both teams.
Yeah, they said there might be some spotty showers here tonight, but right now it's nice and dry. It's cool, really nice, cool fall night. I think it's great for football, Biddy.
I agree. This is exactly what you want if you're going to have a fall day. Although the sun is nice at times, it's 7 o'clock and it's not below zero, we'll take it.
Yeah, I think it's an ideal night for some playoff football here in the OFC. Again, as mentioned, London played earlier today against Hamilton. We'll have more on that. The winner of this game, of course, moves on. Now, look, you can see some of the fans already getting together for some nice pictures here. But the winner of this game, they'll play for the OFC Championship next weekend. Now, if Ottawa does win this game, that means London's going to be hosting the OFC Championship. Of course, if the Saints can prevail here, they'll host the finals next weekend. So, if you're not pumped up for this, you shouldn't be here, right?
Absolutely, that's it. It's that win and in.
Yeah.
Lose, your season's over, and that's exactly what season is. Always those step-by-steps. You want to get a little bit better. Now it's not about getting better. It's about the W. Doesn't matter how you get it done. It's got to get done.
With that said, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Justin Prince will join Badia Kwas in the broadcast booth. The winner of this one earns the right to battle for an OFC championship. This is OFC semifinal playoff action. The opening kickoff right after these messages. You're watching all the action on We Digital Productions.
Like our champions, we know what it takes to win. Every day we put on our uniforms and we strive to be the best. Ring after ring, we keep practicing until it becomes second nature. Our craftsmen have put in thousands of hours to master their trade. And when things get tough, we make the adjustments needed to stay on top. Baron Championship rings. This is who we are.
The atmosphere is electric. It's the OFC semifinals. The Ottawa Sooners, the St. Clair Saints, here on We Did It All. Good evening, everyone. Justin Prince alongside the Quads as we get set for what's expected to be a tight one. Both these teams had a tightly contested matchup just weeks ago. And in turn, they look to see how things play out tonight. The Ottawa Sooners deferring to the second half, a part of the coin toss moments ago. St. Clair to start things off with the kick return. The D was talked about already. Some of the hype coming in. Already things determined amongst the London Hamilton seeding the 2-3 game. The opponent on the other side of this one, the London Beefeaters. The goal is simple though. Advance, and you're off to the final.
Absolutely, Justin, and this is the one that you're waiting for. That playoff game. You work all 8 games through the regular season to get to this moment. This is the one you're playing for because it's win and in. You do not have any other future except to win. So the reality is Ottawa travels down the 401 here with some confidence, having only lost by 2 the last time down. They're expecting to come down here and put up a fight and advance to the final. And your Saints here are looking to host yet another conference final with a victory of their own.
Keep in mind, the Ottawa Sooners, they've had a lot of momentum coming into the postseason. 4 of their past 5 matchups with victories. St. Clair, of course, undefeated coming in. We'll see how tonight plays out. Both teams finishing things up in the preparation for the opening kickoff. Ottawa once more to start things off with the kickoff as we get set for some OFC football. Fans still packing away into Acumen Stadium, and we're set for some action. Chad Oenik sets up for the opening kick. We're glad to have you with us from We Digital and from Windsor. OFC football is underway. The semifinals start things off with a botched pickup. And the Ute drops it out of the end zone.
And so a single. It was not carried into the end zone. It was mishandled into the end zone. So that's just more of a muff kick. Carries through the end zone. It's going to result as a single point, a rouge. And frankly, at this point in time, looking at the way that ball was perfectly kicked and pinned in the corner, I'm not sure he would have gone to the 35 here. 1 point isn't the end of the world, but the Sooners do have an early lead.
A rare rouge, mind you, because that's the first time we've seen one really all season here at Acumen Stadium. So that brings the offense to the field for the first time for St. Clair. Dual quarterback system once more this campaign. There's Maurice Soja getting the edge for the start coming in. Named to the All-Star team for the OFC. One of 10 St. Clair All-Stars this year. Starting off 5 formation. One of the motion, handing things off. MJ Doyle-Marshall, the third best running back in yards this season, picks up a couple to start off his night.
Yeah, and in this case, you're powering it through. It's a real safe play. Motion across the wing back. You're trying to power up, and good push by the defensive line for the Sooners as they only gave up a short gain of 2, bringing up second and long for the Saints.
Keep in mind, MJ Doyle-Marshall, 64 carries, 593 yards, however, and 7 touchdowns out of his regular season campaign. 2nd and 8, ball placed at the 37, 1 minute into the first quarter of play. Flags up at the line of scrimmage, Soja down behind the line of scrimmage, and our first flags already coming out. Tonight's officiating crew led by Jake Ireland, with experience in the CFL, umpire Rich Higgins, Byron Griffith, Larry Rogers, Chris Kilbright, along with Don Howerhead and Trevor Hayes, your officiating crew. Here's the replay.
Offside. Offense. That penalty is declined. 3rd down.
Yeah, and that was indicated as an offside. Looked like that from my vantage point. Looked like a wingback on the Saints offense rolled through and broke the plane as he was motioning towards the line of scrimmage. And indeed, they'll take the result of the play, which was Soja losing a few yards, bringing up 3rd down.
And keep in mind, Jake Ireland just a few weeks ago officiating CFL action, a very busy official for tonight's action of play. Speaking of action, the punt's off from Preston Knight. For the first time, the Ottawa Sooners with the ball, picked up on the return around the 50. And they'll have good field position to start off their first offensive possession with a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and the Saints have to punt into the wind. Right now, if in our viewing, you'll see the direction of the punt. That is the into the wind direction for this first quarter for the Saints, which means the Sooners do have help behind them for their opening drive. As you said, they will scrimmage at their own 51-yard line with very good field position to start.
They're led by the quarterback with the most yards this season, Owen Cowan, 1,791 yards at quarterback this season, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He'll set things up. Looking to try to run out of trouble. Brought down for a quick sack. St. Clair's first sack of the night.
Yeah, extreme miscommunication in the backfield. The quarterback looked like he was trying to do some sort of inside run fake, and there was miscommunication resulting in a sack, and that's number 5. And that was Mo Ibrahim, who came in and cleaned up the mess. As you see in the replay, him bringing down the quarterback for an early sack, loss of 6 yards, and puts them behind the chains on their first play of the game.
5 sacks for Ibrahim in the regular season. Him and Carl Fabric, keep an eye on them on the front lines. They combined for a grand total of 12 on the season. Setting things up, 2nd and 16, 45-yard line. Cowan looks to scramble out of trouble. Throws the motion, finds Nelson. Nelson, his first reception of the day, picked up around center field. Not short of the first down marker, however. So Ethan Wilson, the first catch of the day, and that brings up 3rd down.
A good delivery from Cowan. That was a long throw, and he actually got one right in the chest because the pressure got to him, but he was able to get it out to his receiver, Nelson, who was able to make the first guy miss. But that sack on the first play was too much to overcome, as they are going to be 3rd and about 5 yards, which was about the length of the sack on that very first play, so they're going to have to punt.
You see several of the tackles coming on in the midst of traffic. St. Clair forcing a 2-and-out situation, and that sets up the punter, Jad Onek, once again. He'll set things up from inside his 45. Return from the near side, this is Tristan Rutherford. Rutherford finds a little pocket, squeaks through several, down the sideline, brought down shy of center field. And the St. Clair Saints now have their own good field position.
We do have a flag on the field, Justin, and it looked like it might have been a push in the back. It was right around the 45-yard line, but yeah, a good kick. But this is something that should be a concern if you're the Ottawa sideline, because the return game has been very, very good for the Saints, and you saw on the replay there was the flag, so I suspect you're going to get the Saints probably scrimmaging at around their own 35-yard line.
And it was as the run was going down the side, so that moves them back. Here's Jake Ireland.
On the return, illegal block. On the return team, number 21, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And that moves them way far back as a result of the location of the call. So all the way back to the 25-yard line.
Yeah, so they're saying the foul occurred when the ball carrier was at the 35. I thought he was already closer to the 45. Nonetheless, it is a 10-yard penalty, and it negates that long return from Rutherford.
So that sets things up for Matthew Gannett, the second of the quarterbacks, part of the rotation, 892 passing yards this year. Doyle Marshall, nowhere to go, tackled at the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10, make it about 2nd and 9.
Yeah, a very simple, conservative play, just an inside run play. They're trying to impose their will right now with the big boys, and so far right now it is Ottawa that is delivering the punch up front and winning the early downs. I don't mind committing to the run early. You look at that, Justin, and you say in the 4th quarter is when you really need to grind out first down. So it's not a bad idea early to sense where you're at, but it's now 2nd and long.
So approaching the middle 3rd of this first quarter of play. Gannett looks to pass for the first time, complete, shy of the first down, however. At that time, it's Rutherford getting involved on the offense. So another 2-and-out, a back-and-forth defensive one, 5 minutes in.
Yeah, so again, he's just trying to get rid of it quick. Not a tremendous amount of pressure. It's good field position for them. That being said, you just got to drive that route maybe a little deeper. Ultimately, you got to get the first down yardage. They only picked up about 2, maybe 3 on that completion.
They'll set up the punt once again. Knight gets it off just in time. When this time bounces it around to midfield and goes out, in fact, around the 54-yard line of St. Clair. So the Sooners retake the field, back and forth defensively. And keep in mind, when you look at the full team stats from the Sooners, not that surprising. They've had some great games where they've forced a lot of tough passes, just 85.8 passing yards a game by their opponents coming in.
Yeah, and the one thing is that if you're a Sooners fan, is you like the way this game's starting, you're going to win the field position. If you're going to have this quarter, you got to be able to take advantage of the field position. And right now, this is the second drive starting near midfield.
Setting things up with 3 wide receivers to the top of the field. Cowan looks on the handoff, and nowhere to go once again on the rush. Whistles go off, and nowhere to go for the running back. Kendall Brown gets stuffed.
Again, it's Mo Abraham setting that hard edge. They tried to run a little counter action there, and no avail because the offensive lineman was unable to get through that hard set edge by Abraham, and it ends up being a tackle for a loss and a 2nd down and 12. So both teams have struggled on 1st down thus far as we are just under 10 minutes in this opening quarter.
9:30 to go in the first quarter of play. 2nd and 12 from the 54 now of Ottawa's side of the field. Setting things up with 2 in motion, make it 3. Brown gets the handoff, spins out of trouble, tries to cut forward around center field, still can't get there. Still can't get to the original line of scrimmage, another 2 and out.
Yeah, and you know what? They tried a little inside draw, and a good job by the force unit of the Saints maintaining their lane integrity because he had no choice but to bounce that to the outside. And once you turn your shoulders as a running back, the rally comes. The rest of the Saints come, and like you said, he didn't even get back to the line of the original line of scrimmage. He maybe picked up a half a yard on that play. So good start by both defenses.
Still placed at the 54 regardless of Ottawa's side of the field as they look to punt it again. Setting things up. Olenek gets it off to about the 30 on the bounce. Picked up cleanly this time. Calhoun runs down the side. Knocked out of bounds. Marked at the 35. And a couple players shoving way off the ball. And that includes Fabry amongst that. Another player, Richard Graham, also in that discussion as we take to the offense, St. Clair's side.
So Ottawa looked like they were trying to angle kick something out of bounds here on the replay, and you'll see that it bounced to the return man's hand, and Calhoun was able to just pick it up and pick up about 9 or 10 yards, which I suspect is the actual recipe. You don't want to kick to these return men. They've had success all year long here, and if there's one criticism, I guess, from the last game, I thought Ottawa's coverage was a little suspect last game on their punts.
So we'll set things up for the 35, St. Clair with the ball. Just about midway through this first quarter of play, I formation again. Set up tight. And some trouble on the snap. Soja appears to fall forward in that, if not dived upon, and that doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah, they fumbled the snap. There's miscommunication there. The ball doesn't come up, and next thing you know, you're having a pile up and no gain. Once again, they're fortunate not to turn the ball over on downs there. So you got the quarterback going under center, and just the ball drops, and you're lucky you picked that back up, or else you would have given Ottawa prime real estate for their 3rd possession. But nonetheless, it's a 2nd and long. Once again, all first downs for both teams have been a struggle.
2nd and 10 from the 35. 3 wide receivers to the right now of Soja. Now looking to roll right. Has some space for Darius France. Picks it up for the 1st down. Brought down around center field. And France wide open there in the midst of one of the coverage pockets.
Yeah, and that to me is what the strength of Soja is. Mo Soja he moves well and he throws well on the run. You move the launch point. Darius France does a nice job sitting in that B-seam curl, squares up, gives himself a big target, and then easily crosses the 1st down yardage and then crosses midfield to give the Saints their first sniff in Ottawa territory.
France, keep in mind, one of the 2 all-star receivers for St. Clair. 391 yards in the regular season. Looking to pass. Soja, trouble on the snap. Now feels a lot of pressure. Gets sacked around the 42, so a loss of about 12 as a result. 2nd and long.
Yeah, a high snap, but I don't think high enough where it should have got through him. Now, what the replay will show, was there a lot of heat on it? Yeah, there might have been a lot of heat on it. On a cold day, the ball gets a little slick. Not slippery from a sense of wetness, but just slick because it's cold. And your hands don't necessarily have the perfect feel you want. And as you said, a big loss, and it's actually 14, it looks like, Justin. So that's another 1st down loss of yards for the offenses.
2nd and 24 from the 42. Setting up with a 5 wide receiver set. Soja this time picks up the snap, looks to hurl it far, picks up Rutherford. Rutherford tackled inside the 45. And that looks to be potentially enough to move the sticks. 1st down is signaled.
Yeah, and that there is a credit to the offensive line. In order for you to be able to throw a deep post or dig route across. You have to give your receiver time to get there, which means the quarterback needs time to allow that to develop, and the pocket held firm. Soja was able to step up, see everything as he was able to actually engage. It looks like we have some sort of timeout on the field. I wasn't sure if it was indicated or whether, it is an injury timeout right now.
That's Marcus Stanley, the left tackle for the St. Clair Saints tonight. And they've had some shuffles on the offensive line throughout the season. They did have NZ Alangami make the All-Star team for the OFC, one of the players brought in from the United Kingdom last year.
Yeah, and he was extremely excited. He couldn't wait. I saw him pregame, and he was just amped up about an hour and 20 minutes before the game, ready to start this. The offensive line this year, I'm not sure they had back-to-back games where they started everybody.
Keep in mind, several All-Stars for Ottawa, 5 in fact coming in. Richard Graham and Snyder John Baptiste amongst the defense. And Richard Graham, keep in mind, plenty of tackles, 5 sacks, also some interceptions, some forced fumbles, including 1 return, and also picked up a touchdown. John Baptiste, as well, a solid season, also an INT for a touchdown, 13 tackles. Your thoughts on the stat lines?
Yeah, well, again, Ottawa's a better team than necessarily their record dictates. They lost twice, obviously, to the Saints, but I definitely believe they're better than what the record indicated. So maybe, just maybe, they're the third best team in the conference, at least statistically. I think they are physically, from a gifted standpoint. That being said, it's nice to see him able to get up on his own, and we'll try to get a number for you as to see who replaced him at that left tackle spot.
Initially on the depth chart, it was Layden Boynton, who is set to replace him. It looks like instead they've gone number 66 to that position. That would be A.J. Zatoun, who's now in at left tackle. Javier Lewis in the motion. 1st and 10 from the 43. Soja dances in the pocket. Looks to scramble. Gets across for 5 yards, 10 yards, way more than the first down. Trying to get inside the 10, brought down around the 10 or 11-yard line for first down inside the red zone.
And that's one of the things that he really does bring the ability to. He absolutely has that scramble escapability that is so prevalent in today's game. He was able to break the left containment, and there was absolutely nothing there. And he worked his way up that left number side and worked all the way inside the 10-yard line, and now officially at the 11, so they can get a first down. But that's the sort of big explosive plays we've been accustomed to seeing from the Saints most of the season.
Fifth most rushing yards on the season, by the way, came from Soja as the quarterback. 3 in the motion once again. Soja looks to pass again. This time, trying to get to Lewis, incomplete. 2nd and 10 from the 11.
Yeah, and that he's angry at himself because Javier was open there, and if he gets it on him, I would take Javier Lewis breaking 1 tackle and making a man miss, because he would have had tons of room. It's just a little flat out that he's trying to get him to, and it just sailed on him. He had so much room to navigate. I would have taken my odds on Javier making the play himself had he had a better ball to handle.
2nd and 10 once more from the 11. Under 5 minutes to go in the first half of play. 3 back in the motion again. This time, Soja finds a Ute. Ute tries to get some defenders to dance. Gets pulled backwards more so. And that sets up 3rd and long. Multiple whistles blow as things get a bit physical in 2 different spots.
It's a real nice job by the secondary of the Sooners, limiting that to maybe getting back to the line of scrimmage. So now we're going to have to get a field goal here. But you'll see on the replay, they're just trying to do a little quick smoke screen. They want to get bodies out in front and give him some sort of escort. So they got a couple receivers blocking for him, but initially hands on him right away. He can't get any momentum, and that's just a good job of securing the tackle and letting your troops rally back behind you.
So that sets up the field goal unit from about 20, making 19 yards away. Now keep in mind, Preston Knight on the season had some ups and downs kicking. 8 for 15 in the regular season. We'll see how this one goes. For about 19, right hash, kick is up, and kick is through. St. Clair Saints take the lead, but a flag is down.
Well, the flag was thrown immediately, so right away I'm gathering you might have had somebody lined up offside. So we'll get the official call. I would suspect they're declining that penalty.
Wonder if it has anything to do with the dancing defender you seen in the shadows.
Yeah, there was that. So they're going to apply it probably on the kickoff here.
Outside, defense. That penalty is refused.
Sorry, I stand corrected. Yeah, this one, it's not a major foul. It's not an add-on. You have the option to move up 5 yards, retry. I guess if you wanted to go for it from that point, you could have considered it. But in this case scenario, you're going to decline it. You're going to leave the field goal and the points on. And the Saints do now take a very small lead at 3-1. And Ottawa is opting to is opting to scrimmage at the 35-yard line at the left hash rather than force a kick into the wind.
Coach Kevin Ling discussing things with the officials before we get started with this next drive. And so far, multiple 2-and-outs. And what's been a mostly defensive matchup in these first about 11 minutes or so with this one. Ottawa sets things up. Once again, Brown the running back. 3 wide receivers to the right of Cowan. This time looking for the quick play. This time complete. Picked up once again on the reception by Jamoy Stewart Sinclair. And that gets a gain of a few yards for second down.
Great job by Nick Brankovic, and then help from Mo Ibrahim making sure that he doesn't get anything. A quick little throw. You just see the linebacker squares up, shuffles his feet, doesn't allow the receiver to get out, and then Ibrahim comes in to wrap things up and clean it up. And again, another loss of yards on a first down play. Neither team has been very successful on first down this entire game so far.
So in turn, they mark it to about 2nd and 11 to 34. Cowan, play action. Looks for a scramble, throws in the motion, and throws it away. Incomplete, and that makes another 2-and-out.
Excellent job by the entire Saints defense on that one. They didn't allow the quarterback to scramble. They didn't bite on the inside run fake. They were able to force him to go. He wanted to go left, did not. The containment was there, even on the right as Fabre forced the throw. Not a receiver in sight, so the back end coverage on the secondary was excellent. He just has to throw that ball past the line of scrimmage anywhere. It doesn't matter if he's in or out of the pocket. And in this case scenario, he just wisely gets rid of it because he doesn't want to take that sack.
Time to punt it again. Jet Oyak once again to punt. Inside the 25 of the punt. A booming one to around the 48. Now it's Calhoun trying to find some space. Flag is down again from the top sideline. And now more whistles blow.
Yeah, like you said, a booming kick, real nice kick, but good job by Calhoun handling it cleanly. And you probably are going to get a hold on this play, so I'm guessing the ball will be going back to around the 40-yard line. Let's get the official call from Mr. Ireland.
On the return, illegal block, number 17, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So another 10-yard penalty applied. That moves the ball back to the 41 of St. Clair.
Yeah, and I believe that was number 17 who they cited for that penalty, and that was Rudy Burkich. But nonetheless, decent field position here, and they're about to get the win. If they get one first down, they'll have the win shortly.
4 wide receivers set up to the right of Gannett this time. Looking to pass. Has a lot of traffic. Sacked in the backfield. Brought down once more. Richard Graham gets the sack.
Yeah, and that's right there. You have your backup tackle in. That's number 66, A.J. Zaitoun, who went in there, and he's the one who, listen, you have to be able to block and chip, and the running back did it, and nothing opened up on the back end. I'd like to see maybe Gannett step up into the pocket, but again, another play, a loss on first down.
So they set things up now with about a minute to go in the first quarter of play. 2nd and 16. If you're a fan of defense, this is the game for you so far. Several sacks and several forced incompletions, and the only going both sides. Gannett looking to break through. Flags up at the line of scrimmage and trying to throw it away. Incomplete. Another flag out before the throw attempt.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure if they were set or if there was some sort of early motion, but usually when it's fast, it's either offside or an alignment issue. So we'll get that call here. Looks like the offense is staying on the field.
And the flags continue to pile up. Things had stayed
Illegal contact
before.
on the receiver. Defense number 5. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. Second down.
And
All right, so illegal contact. Because it was thrown in that area, I suspect maybe a running back or maybe some sort of tight end was trying to leak out, and he was not afforded the space to leak out. That illegal contact gives them a 10-yard gain and brings up second down, and clearly more manageable after that first down sack.
I was just about to say, though, for both these sides, you can argue, throughout the season, they've been fairly disciplined, especially St. Clair at home throughout the season. A lot more flags than we've been used to this year. 2nd and 7 for the 44. Gannett looks to float it up. Uyute, pass interference called as it's picked off. This is going back. Intercepted by the Sooners, but again, Uyute knocked down by the secondary defensive back.
Absolutely, and then you know what? This one here it's more a product of the wind and not a great throw. Uyute was trying to come back. The defender did not allow him to it. The defender's hung out. He doesn't realize it's that underthrown, and they're going to get it here because here's the pass interference call.
Forward pass interference. Defense number 10. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Yeah, and Jake Ireland, it's a simple call for his crew there. He sees it, and you'll see the ball. He's going to take his shot, but the ball just starts floating and hang up as Yu works his way back, literally just runs him over. It's an easy call. No coach is going to argue that. You can't say, well, the ball was underthrown. Well, the receiver has the right to work his way back, and the defender did not afford him that luxury, and the Saints now have it on the Sooner side of the field.
Now this could get interesting. I formation, but Maurice Soja is now being utilized as a wide receiver. Still running play. MJ Doyle Marshall tries to pick up a few yards, does get about 4. Second down as already we're through the first quarter of play. 3-1 your score. St. Clair and Ottawa going back and forth defensively.
Yeah, just a little zone running to the left before we break to commercial.
We'll take a break. More coverage after this. Welcome back to tonight's coverage of OFC semifinal action. St. Clair up 3-1 in a defensive matchup. I formation for 2nd and 5. Gannett passes to Lewis, complete. Brought down for a first down. And marked down inside the 40. More whistles as the players get a little bit extracurricular.
Yeah, Javade Lewis didn't like the fact that the defender who was tackling him sort of held on to his lower limbs. These receivers, running backs, they don't want anyone. And you'll see here, Gannett after the inside run fake is just going to drive it in on, again, a little B-seam curl. And the tackler goes down and he's on an ankle and he's on an ankle and he stays on that ankle after the whistle blew. They do not like their legs wrapped up like that. And I'm telling you right now, every single receiver or running back will react the same way. That's their prize. Their feet and their speed is their prize.
So 1st and 10 from the 38-yard line. Power back now in to play fullback. Looking to block this time. Dante McPhail handed off. And no gain, maybe gain of 1 at most for MJ Doyle Marshall. 2nd and long yet again. And this goes back to the defensive marks coming in. Ottawa, a tough team to gain yards on.
Yeah, that's just, I think that's a missed assignment. I think the fullback there, and that looks like it's Dante McPhail, who was supposed to go to the most dangerous end man on the line of scrimmage. He went to the wider guy, and that backside tackle who pulls, hey, a defender's going to chase him. He's got to hug tight to the hip of that backside tackle as they pull on the counter, because the counter action was there. It was blocked. It was the backside who chased that down.
But in turn, they set things up Trying to run quickly, 2 on the play clock. Gannett gets it off. Looks to throw, short, gets it complete. Brought down for the first down. Lewis tied up, but brought down around the 20-yard line for 1st and 10.
Again, good protection and allowed the quarterback to step up in the pocket, and they run this little dig route, and you got to throw him right to the opening spot, which he does, in that they've exposed now a little bit. That's what, 3 or 4 receptions to that B seam, right to that little curl dig route, and that's exactly what you want to see. Now, Javé Lewis looks just a fraction winded, because when he was tripped up and tackled, he landed belly down, and the ball's there, and I'm gathering it was the turf and the ball knocked him out a little bit.
So Lewis on the sideline for this next snap. Coming up to 3 minutes into the second. Gannett catches the bobble snap. Gets looped back. And brought down for a sack while standing. Regardless, still a sack by the defensive captain.
Yeah, a high snap again. This one's well over his head. He was good on him just to actually handle it. And then instinct is, hey, scramble, go. He tried to actually follow, but just couldn't get it. And now his hand is being ripped down out of his pocket. And yet again, another first down play that just doesn't go for anything.
More so his arm sleeve nearly getting yanked off. By the way, that was Styles LePage on the sack. So the ball's been marked to the 26 for 2nd and long again. So after some quick checking of the positioning and some quick checks on the sideline, they set things once again. Four defenders stay in the box, make it 5. Setting up for the I formation once again. Gannett looks to pass. Looks to throw on the motion. Diving catch, but bobbled incomplete. Burmaster can't hold on to it. His first target of the game, and it's 3rd and long.
Yeah, he would have been probably a little short, maybe 5 yards short, but they would have been at least in more comfortable field goal range here. A little bit of pressure. I'd like to see the running back step up there. The throw was a little low, not terrible, and Burmaster's usually pretty good. He's very, very handsy. He catches the ball so naturally with his hands. He just couldn't get low enough for that one. But they are going to set up now for what amounts to about a 33-yard field goal, but they do have help with the wind right now.
See if that works out now, Preston Knight. And multiple flags go off before the kick is up. At least one Sooner looked to be off, but was there an early jump?
Okay, well, 2 things. Number 1, it looks like the Saints only had 11 on that field goal attempt. And number 2, it looks like you are correct. We had some jumping early from the Sooners, so the referees are going to discuss this and say, all right, we're going to move it up 5 yards, and it's going to be an easier try here. But that was blown dead right away. Just waiting for official confirmation.
Here's the call. So they award give the offside is the rather gathering. So they move it up 5 yards and try it again.
Yeah, and a 28-yard field goal. And you know what? Statistically, once you get inside of 30, your percentages go up. That's just a simple mistake. You can't go offside.
So Knight now has a shot from 28. Kick is up, nearly blocked, flags up again, but signaled good.
Ottawa was offside yet again. Now, it's not going to result in the first down, so I suspect we're going to get the same thing as last field goal. They're just going to decline and take the points because it's going to bring up 3rd down in about 7, and it's still not in your
So the points count, 6-1 St. Clair.
Yeah, and Mr. Ireland does indeed square that away. You know what? Sometimes I know this. I've known some coaches who on those extra points, on those field goals, they are going to challenge and they're going to tell their guys, I don't care if you jump fractionally, if it's a long distance. If it's obviously 3rd down and 3, don't jump early. But if the ref accidentally misses or you time it perfectly, you might get a block. If you don't and they make it, they're going to decline it anyway. Sometimes there's some gamesmanship, some strategies in those field goals when it's 3rd down and 13, 14 like it was a minute ago.
Still one possession game, under 11 minutes to go in the first half of play. Cowan sets up with Brown as the back. 2 in the motion, make it 3. Toss play, this time trying to go to the ground, and another loss on the ground.
Yeah, real nice job by Tylen Davis. He saw the motion from the wingback coming across, and he just stepped up. Excuse me, that's number 16, Gadi Kazadi, who came up, and he forced the play right back inside, and he still made the tackle as help from Fabre on the backside of that came and cleaned that up. And yet again, another loss on a first down play for these offenses. Sound like a broken record, Justin, but that is a bad recipe. Your offense can't get going when you're behind the chains this frequently.
They'll go over to the stands. Lots of fans coming out to see how the semifinals play out here. Two in the motion. Cowan, lots of pressure again. Forced to run again. Forced to throw it away again. Incomplete. Third and long. Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, good job all across. The pressure comes underneath, and he has to scramble to his left because Mo Ibrahim is there. And next thing you know, Fabre gets a piece of the quarterback's throwing arm as he released it. That ball had no chance as it fluttered well out of bounds. And now the field position game is what the Saints are going to try to benefit from as Ottawa has to punt into the wind.
So Jad Owadek sets things up for the punt. Snap coming from the 34-yard line. Setting up with four blockers. Max protect. Punt is off with 9 of the play clock, and they now bring it on the run. Oh, that goes for the running kick. A little bit of rugby-style kicking there. Still gets only to midfield. Flag is down.
Huge. Like, this is, like, I don't know if he had the run option if he wanted, but he had a lot of room to make up. So he loses his protection when he scrambles out of bounds and becomes a runner. In this case scenario, you got a catch inbounds, no yards. This is going to be a major 15-yarder from the point of the catch. You're going to get this ball probably close to the 40-yard line of the Sooners. I believe that's where the Saints are going to scrimmage from. And that is it, a 15-yard penalty.
And what can I say? High risk, high reward, and the high risk won this time. But they say it's a 10-yard. Now that's 15 because they originally set it up for 10, and now the chain gain has realized it's 15.
Jake Ireland said 15. Now they got it set, 40-yard line going in.
So they'll spot it from the 40. First and 10, under 9:30 to go in the first half of play. Soja now the quarterback. Soja looking down the field. Incomplete. Hadayute. Two defenders in the vicinity, however, so second down.
Yeah, he had him. The wind is pushing in that direction, so it got up and carried just out of the reach of his speedy low receiver. Maybe a fraction more air underneath the ball, a little higher to teardrop that in, but then you run the risk of bringing the safety into play, so I don't mind that driving deep into the end zone. They took a shot. Now let's see if they can actually convert a first down from second and long again. They've had some success, but again, not a great first down result as they don't gain any yards.
Second and 10. Lewis Amunsto's now back in, and whistles blow. And it looks like a signal for...
The Saints, I believe, called the timeout.
Yes, now it's signaled. It took a moment before signaled by the head of referee and Jake Ireland.
As the offense broke the huddle there, Justin, you saw a few guys scrambling to the line of scrimmage, and then all of a sudden one person peels off the line of scrimmage, somebody else steps. So there was some confusion as to what the alignment was. So whether that was the quarterback who maybe misread the play, and Coach LaChance was like, wait a minute, that's not the formation I called or I wanted, as you see them discussing what they have on the wristband and on the call sheet. So there could be just a clerical error. I've made enough wristbands in my time to know that sometimes I make that mistake, and what you're reading doesn't match up with the wristband.
So the simple question is, how do you make sure you don't have a typo on your wristband in the playoffs?
Well, you hope you hammer that out on your Thursday practice when you're calling plays from the sideline with the wristband, but it still happens. And no matter how many times people proofread it, it still happens. Nonetheless, second and 10, and the Saints are going to try to extend this very narrow lead of 5 points.
So, under 9 minutes to go, after the timeout due to apparently a typo in the play sheets, they set things up on the play action. Soja Running out of time. Looks to scramble ahead in the pocket. Breaks forward, but doesn't get the first down mark. Tackled a yard or two shy.
So now they're right on the edge of what might be the back end of field goal range. So it's about a 40-yard field goal. But he scrambled enough to get a good 8 yards, so this might very well be 3 down territory here, and it does look like, so you'll see the replay, he had a lot of time. Protection was half decent. Soja had time to look 1, 2, 3, scrambled to his right, didn't like what he saw, came back underneath, and was able to at least pick up 8 yards as the offense now comes in, but late into the huddle as we're under 10 on the play clock.
Running out of time to get the play off here. Looking to go for it. 3 on the play clock. Down to 1. Have to get it off. They may have just gotten it off. Soja scrambles. Gets it up for the first down. And may have just gotten it by a couple tenths in the first place to then get the first.
Yeah, they clearly got it off. It was winding down, but there was one when that ball was snapped, so that's a good, simple call by the officials. They see it all. But it's just a pause delay. Okay, where's the blitz? No problem. I'll make one guy miss, and I'll find my seam. It's a little bit of a risk when you have to snap at 5 yards and you're doing a little bit of a delayed draw, but this time it paid off, and the Saints keep the drive alive, and now they're in the close to the red zone as they are at the 24-yard line.
So, 1st and 10 once more, just past halfway to the second quarter of play. France sets up on the top, down below Burmaster. Lewis on the motion with the Ute. Soja looks to throw to the end zone, targeting Burmaster, incomplete. That one goes short, 2nd and 10.
Good coverage. Stride for stride with Burmaster was number 17 for the visitors, and that is a Roman Reed, and the ball drifted to the inside. Now the wind is with him, but it's pushing from left to right from our camera angle screen there, and Burmaster was unable to swim over the top, but that is stride for stride coverage, and yet again another 2nd and long situation here, but I suspect they are at least in field goal range now, so if they don't get inside of a yard on this play, you'll see probably another field goal attempt.
An extra defensive back substituted in for the I formation. 3 wide receiver set this time. Soja looks on the pass. Lots of time. Gets it off to the end zone. Over the head of Ute, incomplete. And another 3rd down for St. Clair.
Yeah, a little bit of play action, slide to the left, and you run a drag all the way across that sail road, gets all the way to the high side of the post, if you will, and just sailed on the quarterback again as he tried to hit his receiver, who was open. That one needed to be thrown more towards the direction of the run, which would have been more of the sideline rather than vertical. Nonetheless, we have a 31-yard field goal attempt and a late substitution by the Saints.
Still 15 seconds on the play clock, though, to get this one off. This from 31 from Knight. From the right hash, gets it off with 7 on the play clock. Kick is up, kick is good. 3 Knight field goals, the only point so far for the Saints. It's 9-1. And so, defense continues to be big in this one. What can you do, or what do you adjust here for both sides? Because the passing game's having some troubles finding the pay dirt. The running game's getting stuffed.
Well, I'm going to prescribe some sort of recipe here. Design one play to get you 4 yards and make it 2nd down and 6. Make sure your 1st down play is a drive starter, not a drive killer. Loss of yards or no yards kills drives, so try to dial up something that's going to get you 4 or 5 yards. Right now the Sooners opt to scrimmage. They're going to be at the 35-yard line left hash. Ideally, they can approach the 40-yard line on this next play and give them a 2nd and shorter.
Doing the motion. Setting up bunched up on the handoff this time. Run forward this time by Brown. And that does get the 5 or 6 nearly, about 4.5 more so, that you're prescribing.
Yeah, because now, and you'll see here the graphic in our screen here, we have 2 defensive backs for the Saints being all-stars. You don't want to have to challenge these 2. If it's second down and long, you're challenging these 2. They're outstanding. They're fantastic. They have 7 interceptions. They make plays. They are game breakers. They are going to be, both could potentially find their way on an all-Canadian team. The reality is, at least at second down and 5-ish, 5.5, you have a chance to still run the ball.
And for Nathaniel Norden, mind you, it's a second consecutive all-star bid. Cowan throwing off his back foot complete. Richard Graham, the defensive lineman, on the reception, brings it across the 50 for the first down. And so it looks like the play also has apparently a decision of, let's bring the defensive linemen as wide receivers now.
Yeah, and Ottawa brought, looks like, around 40 players down. Sometimes, once in a while, J.J. Watt did this. You see Mike Vrabel in the NFL. There's guys who are going to have some extra plays either way. That way you don't have to throw the ball 40 yards down the field. That was a short little throw. It was only about 4.5 yards down the field. Your guy only has to break 1 tackle, and he did that, and he was able to pick up the first down.
He had 5 catches, by the way, in the regular season, but the reason being utilized a bit here, 139 reception yards. Flags down again, run this time by Brown, picks up about 5 or 6, but again, flags up at the time of the snap, 2 of them in fact.
No question, offside on the Saints, so you're going to end up getting a 1st and 5 out of this. I don't think they got enough yards to decline it and make it 2nd and 1 or 2, so you'll likely accept the penalty, go back to the line of scrimmage. You'll see at the both ends, at the top and bottom of the screen, they sort of jump, and that was indeed 52 Fabre who jumped into the neutral zone at the snap. So you're going to get a 1st down and 5.
And all of a sudden, the St. Clair Saints gone down. That's Mo Ibrahim, who's all of a sudden gone down around the midfield logo.
He's holding on to his calf or his hamstring, which tells me it's a cramp.
Working to adjust on the cramp. Here's the call.
Outside defense, 5-yard penalty, 1st and 5.
So there's the call. Ibrahim now being checked by the coaching staff and the training staff. So Sean Gannett amongst those, believe down there on the outside.
Replacing him is number 13, Keon Gratton, at the defensive end spot.
And here's that final score we talked about. Once again official. Beef Beaters over the Hurricanes earlier today, 50-7. London with one of the top rushing offenses in the country. Talk to that in a bit later on. Run down on the ground, Brown trying to get up again, but no. It's still 2nd and about medium.
Yeah, and he's dancing around thinking, I missed an opportunity. You'll see as he approaches the hole, he tries to make just some sort of quick speed cut. He slips, his right knee goes down, which clearly goes down as Brankovic was there to meet him. As the rain, the mist starts to fall here. It's not a downpour, it's just misty right now. Not going to suspect it's going to affect play too much. They were calling around 8 p.m. some light mist showers, and they appear to be here a little earlier.
Earlier today, mind you, heavy downpours that impacted softball action across the way here at the sports park. Now looking to pass is Cowan. He finds his safety valve again. Trying to carry it is Graham. Graham gets another 1st down catch. And they've got something going now with the power position.
And again, because the penalty gave them 1st and 5, the 2nd down play, they only gained 1.5 yards. 2nd down and 3 is more manageable. You don't have to get vertical. You can do some play action. You can dump it off and march down methodically. Ultimately, that's a perfect recipe if you want to get your offense going. Short play action after you get a positive play on 1st down.
Rain starting to pick up in velocity as we get ready for the 3-minute warning next play. 1st and 10 from the 42. 3 wide receivers up top, 1 down below. Very quiet so far for one of the top wide receivers, Marcus Lynch, but the play clock reaches 0. And it looks like signal for a timeout. So the Ottawa Sooners take the timeout, their first of the half, with 2:49 to go in the first half of play. Let's take a look at more All-Stars. Marcus Lynch, we talked about him. We barely said his name tonight, and he's one of the top receivers in the province this season with 628 receiving yards.
Yeah, and just because both teams have all-stars in the back end and the secondary, so that's something that is obviously you want to get it to your playmakers, but coaches know this is your all-star, so they're going to bracket him. They're going to work him. The Sooners are lucky. They're about to blow in the 3-minute warning now, but that play was actually not under the 3-minute warning, or else it would have been a loss of down. So right now it's 1st and 15.
So now it's 3-minute warning. They've not given the timeout. And now Cowan looks to dance, looks to scramble, makes back the 5 yards or so back for 2nd and 10 or so.
Yeah, and they are trying to get the ball down the field, but the secondary is doing a good job taking away all options. Cowan looked left, tried to scramble left. The containment was there, and this time around he was able to fight through and work his way back to the right, and the absence of Mo Ibrahim there on that play proved to be a little costly as they picked up about 4 yards there, but it is 2nd and 11 as a result of that delay of game penalty on 1st down.
Keep in mind, he can run. He's amongst the top 10 in running yards this season. Speaking of running backs, here's Brown. Brown breaks a couple. Brown gets a dart. Looks to try and juke through a couple more layers. Down the sideline, knocked out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. And Ottawa's in the red zone for the first time.
Yeah, what a nice little run. Jump cut back under, because guess what? The Saints sniffed this out earlier. They actually had hands on him in the backfield, but he made 2 guys miss in the backfield and then was able to jump cut through the line of scrimmage, beat a linebacker, and then beat an arm tackle of somebody in the secondary as he worked out of bounds at the 13-yard line. And now they are set up in prime real estate to try to find the first major of the game for either team.
Coming up to 2 minutes to go in this first half of play. Our 4 wide receiver set. From the 13, on the ground, Brown gets down to around the 10. Still 2nd and about medium on the play.
Well, even though we're into the wind and it's a 3-yard run here, and you'll see as he powers through here. We saw last time that the Ottawa Sooners have a kicker who has a monster leg. He made, a 50 and a 51-yarder last time he was here. So he accounted for 15, 16, 17 of the points in the previous meeting here in Windsor. So we know they're clearly in field goal range already. But that being said, they want to pay this off with a major, as it looks like it's number 13 for the Sooners who's down, and that's David Simona, who needs attention from the training staff of the Sooners. Looks good that he's walking comfortably under his own power off the field.
So an injury stoppage here with 2:02 to go in this first half. Once again, coming up at halftime, it's halftime with Don Papa. Be sure to stay tuned. Listen in during halftime. See the thoughts and discussions during the halftime break. Halftime with Don Papa. Only on halftime, we digital. Setting things up once again, 2nd and 7 from the 10. 2 in the motion. Cowan rolls right. Has to run. Likes to keep it. Trying to get the yards himself. Gets pushed ahead for the 1st down, possibly. Yes. Looked to be knocked forward past the sticks. And they now mark him just short at the 4.
Well, an easy decision. They're bringing the heavies out. And this time around, Mo Ibrahim just barely lost his containment. He had hands on him, and it looked like he was forced just short of the sticks. We stand
now
correction.
They move it.
They do give him the 1st down.
They originally spotted it at the 4, but watch the location on the fall. This is to the right of that stick. That's why they give it.
Clearly, good camera shot from our crew there. Clearly easy to see that he got over the yards to gain stick.
1st and goal. Power look. Cowan, trouble on the snap. It's on the ground. Picked up by Billy Patterson Jr. And the St. Clair Saints pick it up inside the 10.
What the first huge mistake by either team. I mean huge. Playoff games are defined by mistakes more so. Good teams oftentimes don't make huge mistakes, and this is a huge mistake. He just mishandled that snap. It gets kicked around, and they are lucky. The Sooners are lucky that there was a tackler in the area, because Billy Patterson has the speed. He could have just as easily taken that 107 yards the other way.
That appeared to be the all-star offensive lineman, Ahmed Hafazi, on the snap. And in turn, St. Clair has the ball with 95 seconds to go in the first half of play. However, it's at the 10. Looking to keep it on the ground to start. MJ Doyle Marshall brought down for a solid pickup, about 6 or 7.
Yeah, that's the kind of gain you want on first down. You want to have your full playbook. So now you see, okay, the offensive line's going to engage. Just push the pile. Push forward. Engage. Drive your feet. He wasn't stopped until he already got 4.5 yards, and then he dragged the tackler for 1.5 yards. So 2nd and 4, you can go right back to the run, short play action, quarterback type options. You can throw the ball. Everything is on the table at this down and distance.
2nd and 4 from the 16. Their 4 wide receiver look. They send MJ Doyle Marshall out. Gannett passes to Doyle Marshall. Has an open space, but brought down on the recovery. Still enough for a first down. 1:03 to go now in the first half. The ball's still all the way at the 22.
Yeah, nice little play design. You bring Doyle Marshall out of the backfield, and all he does is a little circle route, and you're going to check it off to him right away. No one in coverage on him. Man, if he would have just made one guy miss, he might have had a lot more ground to work with. But good sure-handed tackle. At this point, if you're Ottawa, you're okay with him getting 6 yards. You just can't give up the home run here.
1st and 10 from the 22. Back to the 4 wide receiver look. This time to MJ Doyle Marshall on the ground. Bounces off 2. Can't spin out of a 3rd. And brought down from about the 25, a gain of about 3. Looking down to the grandstands. That mist, by the way, has turned into a very thick mist. And with 37 seconds left, things getting wet out there. Here's the look.
Yeah, and he had to reroute. He was supposed to go left, had to bounce. That was a good job by the defensive line. The end on the far side, or on the near side, of our screen to set that hard edge. And it's going to bring down a 2nd down and 7 as they wind in. And I suspect they're going to use the full 17, 18, 19 seconds of this play clock here, simply because you want to be able to, if you don't get this first down, leave very little time if you have to punt.
2nd and 7. Gannett hands it off to MJ Doyle Marshall. Runs forward. Gets it up for a first down just shy of the 40.
But he fumbled. He fumbled the ball. Unfortunately, Ute was there to fall on that. What a lucky break, because you'll see on the replay here, Doyle Marshall has the seam, but a tackler comes in and gets his hand right on helmet, right on the ball, right there. And next thing you know, Ute just sort of, I'm here, I'll fall on it. And it is indeed enough for a first down. Both the run and the forward fumble was enough for the first down with 9 seconds left and counting. This should be the last play of the opening half.
Coming up to the end of the half, clock reaches zeros. They keep it to the ground. MJ Doyle Marshall tries to jump over the defender, instead brought down by Reed. And that ends off the first half of play. 9-1 the score. The St. Clair Saints lead with 3 field goals. Ottawa with just the Rouge to start off the game. Halftime with Tom Papa coming up right after this. You're watching We Digital for coverage of the OFC semifinals between the Sooners and Saints. And hold on 1 second. So there's some discussion on the field, hence why we came back here for the split second. Just as we were getting ready to end off the half, there was some discussion on the field. They marked the first down regardless of the play, though. They've now signaled the end of the half. So after some confusion for a second where they said, hold off, let's go to halftime with John Papa, still 9-1.
Like our champions, we know what it takes to win. Every day we put on our uniforms and we strive to be the best. Ring after ring, we keep practicing until it becomes second nature. Our craftsmen have put in thousands of hours to master their trade. And when things get tough, we make the adjustments needed to stay on top. Baron Championship rings. This is who we are.
Welcome back to Acumen Stadium on the campus of St. Clair College in beautiful Windsor, Ontario. OFC semifinal playoff action. The St. Clair Saints hosting the Ottawa Sooners. After 30 minutes of play, the Saints hold an 8-point lead, 9-1, over the Sooners. One player sitting next to me right now that I'm sure is chomping at the bit to get in the lineup tonight. Unfortunately, an injury has kept him out. I'm just going to say it's an upper body injury. We don't need to go into any details, but Nicholas Malman joins us. Thanks for doing this with us, Nick. And quickly, give me your thoughts about that first half.
That was very exciting first half. To end the half of Billy Patterson getting that fumble recovery, huge. That carries momentum into the second half, which hopefully turns into a win. That's what we're looking for right now.
Talk to me about the preparation. I know you're not playing, but I'm sure you've been to the practices. You're talking to the guys. And Ottawa played you guys really tough a couple weeks ago. They maybe even opened the eyes a little bit. This is a game to take very seriously, obviously.
No, so obviously Ottawa did a fantastic job preparing. Shout outs to them, but I think this week we had the upper hand. We watched film every day, going through the study sheets, going to the playbook, watching exactly what they do, other opponents to them. I think we figured out exactly what we need to do to win, and hopefully that's on display for tonight.
Yeah, well, a tough first half. 9-1, as I mentioned, is the score after the first half of play here. This St. Clair team, if you can characterize this team, Nick, if you can, in words, describe what you like about this team, and just is there a good tightness with the guys? Is there a good group that way?
The only word I would use to describe this team is family. This is the closest bunch of guys I have ever seen in my entire life. One word I would use is family for this team.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of camaraderie there with this club. And again, to talk about the team, to talk about the year, you went 8-0. Everybody's expecting this team to do well. But how did the coaching staff, and maybe even some of the older guys, keep the team grounded and say, let's not look at the record. Let's just get better every game?
It starts with their seasoned vets. The vets we have on the team, they've been here before. They've been through the process. They were 8-0 last year. Again, we're 8-0 this year, obviously. They've seen what happens if we get too cocky, get too ahead of ourselves. Our vets, our captains, our leaders are the sole reason that we are so tamed and I guess good at what we do.
Let's talk about you for a little bit here. Obviously frustrated not playing, but second year with the club, and is it what you thought it would be coming here to St. Clair and the whole college experience, and then getting to play football at this high level?
I will say it's not what I thought it would be. It's much, much better than what I thought it would be. I came here looking for a new career. With a job outside of football. I came here finding a family. I came here finding the coaches I love, the brothers I have for life now. St. Clair is way more than what I thought it would ever be. I could never thank them enough for what they've done for me.
And of course, you come from the Kitchener area, if I remember correctly, and Kitchener I think has always been a great city. I've traveled there many times, but how do you take to Windsor? How do you like Windsor overall?
So I'll say shout out Drumbo, Ontario. I'm from a farm town just outside of Kitchener. Shout out Drumbo, Ontario. But there's different narratives on Windsor. I try to hear not the negative ones, only the positive side. But I like Windsor a lot. There's things to do. It's more tight knit than I really thought it would be. And I love it here. I love living here.
And juggling college and football, how tough is that?
Well, I started at McMaster University, so I juggled university and university football before coming here. That was a struggle. Coming here, it's hard, obviously, but it's not as hard as university once was. I'm super happy with my choice to come here, for sure.
Take me into the locker room, okay? I need you to go in there, Nick, and you know Coach LaChance well, you know Coach Morency well, and the rest of the staff there. What are they pushing now? What are they talking to the guys about?
What I would think they're talking about is to keep their composure. Obviously, it's a scrappy game we got going on right now, very scrappy. Their main thing that they're pushing for is keep your composure. The way Ottawa could win this game is unforced errors, so penalties. Keep your composure, keep your cool, play with your head. That's what they're going to be forcing right now.
All right. Great chatting with you, Nick. Yeah, you did a great job with it. So hopefully you can get back in the lineup. I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, if the Saints keep winning, maybe you get a shot. But good to have you on the team. Good to have you here, and we'll chat down the road.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, that's Nicholas Mallman of the St. Clair Saints, one of the good guys for sure. We're going to take a quick timeout as the rain has started coming down here at Acumen Stadium. Oh my, is it ever getting drizzly out there. Beautiful fall weather. There you can see it right there. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll check the first half stats for you. You're watching OFC Football on We Digital Productions.
Good evening, sir. Where are you coming from?
I was just at a buddy's watching a game.
Have you consumed any alcohol tonight?
I had a couple beers.
Thanks. Can I ask you to step out of the vehicle, please?
How many drinks does it take to impair your ability to drive safely? Having even just a few casual drinks can impair your driving ability to the point that you could lose your license for at least 3 days or more.
Hi, honey. Can you come pick me up?
Play it safe with alcohol. If you plan on drinking, don't plan on driving.
Every child should learn how to swim, for health, for safety, and for fun. That's why we've started Canada's Swim Team. Learn to swim at least 25 meters on your own, and you're on the team. Canada's Swim Team. It's that easy. Help make us the world's largest swim team by adding your name at getswimming.ca. Ask your parents first. Swimming, the only sport that can save your life.
Welcome back to our coverage of OFC semifinal football playoff action here on We Digital. My name is Dominic Papa, and of course we're at halftime. The Ottawa Sooners in town to take on the St. Clair Saints. Saints grab an 8-point lead after the first half of play. Our color analyst, the doctor of football, Badia Kwas, of course, joins me now on the halftime report to talk about that first half, Badia, and we're going to take a look at some of the numbers here as well. But you said it at the beginning of the broadcast. This is going to be a great game. It's going to be exciting. I think we've had a little bit of everything already.
Yeah, 100%. Physical defense, playoff time, you want to see your defenses play well. Both defenses are, and as you can see there, not a lot of yardage accrued by anybody. The first downs are absolutely what is in favor of the Saints, but not really by the scoreboard. It's a one-score game at 8 points, a touchdown and a 2-point convert. But realistically speaking, the game is being played by the defenses because on first down, it seems like both the Saints and the Sooners are behind the chains. They're not getting any positive yards on first down.
3 field goals by the Saints and a single, obviously, for Ottawa in the opening kickoff. How strange was that, Buddy?
Yeah, well, they had the win, and we know that kicker is good because last time he was here, he had a couple 50-yard field goals, so he has the leg, mishandled by the return man, but nonetheless, that single, you hope, is inconsequential after the balance of the game, and 3 field goals in itself is surprising for the Saints because they haven't had much success kicking field goals this year. Ultra surprising that neither team found the end zone. However, the Sooners were awfully close, and they had that fumble at the 1-yard line on a quarterback sneak, and they did not pay that one off because that is the biggest mistake thus far.
Yeah, I mean, you were leading me right to my next question. I want to go back to that play. You know, a beautiful drive put together by the Sooners. Very effective, and to fumble like that, I mean, that's a tough pill to swallow that late in the quarter, and would have, well, they're still in the game here very much, but just would have made things that much tighter.
Yeah, especially because they deferred, and they would have had the second half ball if they wanted. They could have put themselves in that situation to double-end it and maybe get a score. And whether they went for 2 or not, they get points to finish the half and then maybe start the half and take an early lead again. What you want to try to do when you're on the road is you want to have the home team feel a little bit of panic. You want to get them a little nervous and anxious because then the crowd brings it down a little. They get a little silent. They sit on their hands, and that's what you want to do if you're the road team. They had a chance to do it there. Instead, the roar that came from the fans when that ball was fumbled and recovered by the Saints gave all the momentum back to St. Clair. Despite the
Blustery weather all day here today, and again, we got some pretty good rainfall going on right now here at the stadium. A good crowd here tonight, really nice crowd, and they're into this game. You can tell they're very loud, and they've been entertained to a very good game right now.
Yeah, from our broadcast vantage point, I hear about 80, 90 armchair coaches, because everyone's yelling, and I can hear it even despite my fact that I got headset on. Everyone's critical of do this and do that and do this. These coaches on both sidelines are well experienced. They know how to coach football. I'm sure it's not easy when you got playoff caliber teams combating against each other, so maybe the armchair quarterbacks just cheer and leave that alone. But like you said, they are gutting it out. They're all here despite the rain coming down a little harder, and they are supporting the home team.
Absolutely. Quick question, Behi. Now we're getting ready for the second half. We're a couple minutes away. You mentioned it, and a little surprising to me as well that we haven't had a touchdown from either squad yet. Does a touchdown really give a team a big edge, whatever team gets it at this point?
Not with it only being an 8-point game. I don't think, let's just say the Saints had maybe a double digit, 10, 12, 13, then maybe you're stretching because, look, it's a defensive battle. With it only being a one-score game right now, even if the Saints do get it, Ottawa's capable of scoring 20 points, and 20 points might be all it takes for them to win the game. So it's not far out of reach, but what you want to do is you want to stay within the one score if you're Ottawa, because you don't want to have to be one-dimensional. If they're forced to just exclusively throw, I know the back-end secondary is going to make a play for the Saints because they got all-stars on the back end, and you do not want to get into that one-dimensional nature.
All right, going to let you get back over to the booth with Justin. With that said, the Saints leading this one 9-1 after the first half of play. When we come back, we'll kick off for the second half. It's OFC semifinal football action brought to you by We Digital Productions.
Mont's On Time Express has all of your delivery needs covered with a fleet of 50 vehicles, including cargo and sprinter vans, along with 24-foot straight trucks. It doesn't matter if the freight is big or small. Mont's On Time Express can guarantee safe and prompt delivery service throughout Canada and the United States. Licensed to broker freight throughout North America, Mont's On Time Express features same-day delivery service, along with a state-of-the-art dispatching system and live GPS tracking assistance. Mont's is fully insured and Canadian bonded and has certifications with FAST, CTAT, PIP, and SmartWay. Mont's On Time Express is open 24 hours a day, 364 days a year. To get your delivery moving, contact Mont's On Time Express at www.montsontime.ca or call toll-free at 877-250-8282.
Welcome back to the rainy confines of Acumen Stadium. Justin Prince with you alongside Bediquaz as we get set for the second half of play. Justin Prince alongside Bediquaz, and so far, defense again, the big story as talked about during the halftime with Don Papa. In turn, the second half about to get itself underway here, Bedi.
Absolutely, and we expected a battle. Last time they were down here was a 2-point game. It's a one-possession game still at 8 points. We 100% thought Ottawa would come down here and battle like they did the last time. No surprises so far. The unfortunate turnover for the Sooners to finish the half.
Yep.
But that being said, you have to expect to have a battle on your hands when you're in playoff time, and I'm glad to see that both teams are competing despite lack of offense. The defense has been great.
And keep in mind, coming into the postseason, these were the power rankings, and guess which team is not in these power rankings?
Yeah, it's weird because I've seen Hamilton play a few times now, and now this is our second time watching Ottawa. The eyeball test does not tell me that Hamilton's the 10 relative to Ottawa. If they're going strictly by record and the fact that Hamilton beat Ottawa, maybe so. But in my mind, that's a stretch. But that being said, it doesn't matter. Hamilton is out now. Ottawa's fighting to try to stay in the conference playoffs, and that's all that matters right now. They have a chance to defeat the champions on their home turf right now as we start this third quarter, and they're only down 8.
So the rain currently more so of a mist, in that you can't feel the mist unless you stand in the same spot for a moment. We get set for the kickoff meanwhile. Remember, Ottawa won the coin toss but deferred to this second half of play. Again, glad to have you with us once again for the second half of play at the OFC semifinals. Underway for the second half. Kicked off by Knight. Picked up on the return. This time returned by the running back. Nowhere to go for Brown. Brought down around the 20.
Yeah, and that was Fabre who came down and made a great special teams tackle. Open field, wrapped him up, squared him up, put him down on the ground. And that is exactly what you want to send the message of the special teams coverage. Look, you can get your 8, 9, 10 yards, but the fact is, once we get to you, we're going to make that play. And sure enough, they made that play as the Sooners look like they have to scrimmage at around the 23-yard line.
So indeed they mark it there from the top side hashes. You see the defense set up around 7 in the box. Looking like the small change at the back, looks like to start off the half. See how things play out on the ground game. Say hello to the first rush for Alex Barbarigos, who doesn't get much.
And he is down on the ground as he was lassoed by big number 93, and that is Nick Carter. And you'll see, you run a counter play, and if you give up any penetration like they did, 93 wraps him up, and he's going to lasso him, and they're going to drive him into the ground. That is a great play by a defensive tackle inside, aided by number 17, and that was Rudy Bukic, who came in and helped with that finish. But boy, they landed on him, and I'm not sure if this is a neck. It looks like they're dealing with a back issue because they're asking to feel pressure squeeze his hands. Yep. So that is never a good sign.
Should say that was Daniel Deschen's first carry of the entire game. That was not by Brown. And train staff currently checking on the Ottawa Sooner. Only about grand total 39 seconds into this first half of play. So the coaching staff and several players looking to see the player. And all of that's while the rain continues to pour down. Let's talk about All-Stars to move away from that for the next moment or so. So far, Javier Lewis should say, as well as Darius France. Fairly quiet days receiving-wise. 10 combined touchdowns for them coming in.
Yeah, and these two are explosive. You just look at the yards per catch, that average there. That's what makes them so special. They are explosive, and some of those catches are short catches that they run. This is great to see that the player is sort of up on his own, on his knees here, Justin. So, fortunately, the medical staff will look at him, and they'll just double-check to make sure. But he is walking a little gingerly, so maybe it was a concussion type thing.
Yep. Now, talking about stat lines here as we get going here in the second half. The one important stat you pointed out when we were looking at the sheet, the first second you said is the one that matters, first downs.
Yeah, because of first down. The first down plays haven't been very good, which amount to lack of first downs for the Saints, especially in the first quarter. They did pick up several in the second quarter, and Ottawa has 3 for the game. You're not going to win a lot of football games when you are second down and long, as they are right now, 2nd and 11, as they help their teammate off the field, and you only get 3 first downs in an entire half.
So as Deschen's moves to the sideline, 2nd and 11 from the 22 for the Ottawa Sooners. 3 in the motion this time. Looking to pass, Cowan. Looking to scramble, keeps it himself. Moves across the line of scrimmage, hard tackle. Knocked sideways on the tackle. Nick Brakovic on the tackle.
That's a great job by number 8. He was there to take away the under and the over. Watch him scramble. He first defends the receiver, carries him, and then realizes, okay, quarterback's committing to the run. I'm going to come up and make the tackle. That is an outstanding job by your linebacker who carried a slot receiver who was dragging across the field and then checked him off to the secondary help and came up to force to limit that to maybe a 3.5, 4 yard gain, and it's third down and a bunch, and now they're punting into a rainy wind.
Wind blowing strongly now towards him. Punts it away, and it spirals. Hand may have gotten on it. Calhoun picks it up around the 45 regardless, knocks out around the 35, marked at the 37-38.
The exact thing if you are a Saints fan, your defense comes out, pins them deep with the special team opening kickoff. Your defense does two things, bang, bang, knocks them out, gets them in. Now we do have a late flag being thrown here. I'm not sure what that's for. But you see here on the return, one bounce into Calhoun's hands, and he gets it at the 35-yard line. But it looks like we're going to get an objectionable conduct against the Saints. Maybe a little too much chirping, because it looks like the referees are pointing to back this thing up.
Objectionable conduct after the play on the return. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Yeah, and you're winning. Be quiet. The only way you get a flag that late is if you chirp. And that's what happened. Somebody chirped, and now you pull your offense back. You had great field position at the 37-yard line. So virtually in field goal range already. Now you're backed up again, Justin.
1st and 10 for the 47 as a result. So it just starts out as the quarterback this second half of play. One of the motions. Soja, quarterback keeper, runs into the crowd and brought down close to the mark, it looks like.
No, that was another person who carried. That was an offensive lineman that carried that. He was tackled for about a 5-yard gain. Straight quarterback ISO. You got two guys leading up, and he's going to just get this drive started. Since they've struggled on first down.
There's the ball carrier, and then goes everybody else thinking Soja's in it.
Exactly. It's a good drive starter. At least it's second down and manageable.
So, 2nd and 6 from the 43. Setting up with 3 wide receivers to the right of Soja. Soja, once again, runs right, keeps it himself, gets the first down, looking for more blocks, gets one more chance, to the end zone, touchdown Saints! Maurice Soja to the house.
That is straight quarterback sweep. No question about it. There was no option to throw. Everyone was escorting him around the edge. They sealed that in. Soja had a head of steam as he turned it up. He didn't have to make his first cut to like the 20-yard line. And you'll see here on the replay, he's got escorts. And then he makes one guy miss, cuts off the 20-yard line and across the grain. And now it's just long strides. I mentioned it the last time we had our broadcast. He reminds me of Terrell Pryor, the old Ohio State quarterback who had a big arm but also had that long-legged athleticism, and that's what I see with Maurice Soja.
I remember at one point, Pryor also became a wide receiver at the NFL level, and now an offsides on the extra point attempt. And up and through regardless. One of the players on the Atlas side jumped at the snap.
Yeah, and Shirley did. And again, he's not really touched. Right there is the only time he's touched. 20-yard line, cuts left, and off to the races he goes. That is a design run. No questions asked. That was not anything other than quarterback sweep to the right. Your athlete gets you the ball in his hands, and you run half the distance of the field for the first down. Excuse me, for the touchdown.
Yep. And it looks like they're checking on how they want to apply the penalty. Here's the call.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty would be applied on the kickoff.
And there's the confirmation.
Yes, and this time, last time it was on field goal. Field goal, you either accept the penalty and move up and re-kick or not. In this case scenario, it was on the extra point. So you have the option to exercise taking the play, which is the extra point being good, and moving it up 5 yards, which is indeed the case here. They're going to exercise that on the kickoff, move it up to the 50 with the wind, and they're going to see if they can even drive it further, because maybe with the wind, you might get this ball into the end zone.
So they'll set things up for the kickoff from the 50. Coming up to 3 minutes into the third quarter of play. Knight booms it into the end zone. Turned out still. Brown tries to carry it past the 20. Can't even get to the 20. Brought down around the 19. Oh, and some more whistles blow After Graham trying to get up, and now some shoving. And it looks like they'll break things up.
Again, good coverage here. You got Brown, who's a ball carrier. He's a running back. He just sees a wall. Everyone stands up, and you got the green jerseys who maintain their lane integrity, and that just means he's not going anywhere. And they wrap him up, and they bring him down at around the 18-yard line, it looks.
1st and 10 from the 18. Ottawa now trailing by a game-high 15. Sooners looking to try and move the ball offensively. Brown stays in as the back this time. Two in the motion. Cowan bobbled the snap for a moment. Still ran by the secondary option. It looks like that's Graham getting involved offensively on the ground this time.
Yeah, they just run a little read option type play. Quarterback might have the option to pull that out and keep it on the run, but it got high up into his hands and into his chest. They did indeed bobble that snap, but he did pick up a good chunk of yards as it brings up a 2nd down and 2.
So an 8-yard run for a defensive player who had 9 carries in the regular season, 35 yards. Wynn having to run the ball. 2nd and 2. 3 back in the motion. Back to the ground. Flag flies. And a tackle in the backfield regardless.
Yeah, I don't see a flag, Justin. I'm not sure if
there's a flag now.
Late, yes, but now when you said it, I thought maybe it was a pre-snap, but that was a nice wrap-up. They did not get the 1st down here, and it looked like you had an Ottawa player say something. Again, it sounded like a chirp, or looked like a chirp when an Ottawa player walked by the official, so I'm not sure what the call's going to be, but we're going to get that in a moment.
So nobody go regardless.
There's a dead ball foul after the play. Unnecessary roughness on the offense. 15-yard penalty. It is 3rd down.
Yeah, so again, it was after the play there, Justin. I didn't see anything in the balance of the play, and then all of a sudden you get an unnecessary roughness. Look at this swarming defense. You get 3 guys right there. Again, you have Carter, Fabre, and Mo Ibrahim, and the 3 of them converge, had no chance of gaining any yards. And I suspect punting into the wind here, you might get Ottawa conceding a safety.
Keep in mind the last game, guess how many points Ottawa lost by? A safety. So do you risk that again if it comes down to it, knowing you lost by a safety last time?
Well, you have to give up the safety here. You're into the wind, and now the new rule is after a safety, the offense has to come on the field, and they scrimmage from the 35-yard line. The Saints don't have the option to take a kick return. So I think you have to concede this. You have to find a way to flip this field, and if it's by giving up the 2 points right now, you give it up.
3rd and 18 from the 10. And the Sooners still trying to sort out who's on the field. One last player goes offset field. And just past the 4-minute mark into this 3rd. They take the punt from the goal line. Rutherford picks it up inside the 50. Brought down at about the 39. They went against that decision. They elected to punt it from the goal line.
They did, and again, every coach has their own, and maybe they're saying every point matters. They're going to preserve it because they're not trusting that their offense can score. But that is about 40 yards in field position you're giving up. You have to try to win some field position here, and they're going to end up scrimmaging at the 39-yard line. It's a big decision, but I think it's a decision I may have told my staff I'm coaching, we're going to exercise that, give up the safety, and put them on their side of the field instead of giving them maybe an automatic 3 points if they get even 1 first down.
We'll see now what happens here. Gannett now the quarterback, looking to pass, looking to dance away from trouble. Has to run it himself again. Goes out to the sideline, close to the sticks. Looks to be short, though, by a couple yards, 2nd and short.
So the best offense for the Saints has been, for the most part, has been quarterbacks running. And this time it was a pass set, but Matthew Gannett just looks at that and says, look, I have enough speed. I'm going to pick up 7 or 8 yards here, and that is indeed the case. They do have Soiji out on the field again. They have him at receiver, so maybe they're setting something up for a situation. Maybe they do a double pass, because if they maybe give him something on a jet sweep or an end around and he can then throw it. keep that in mind. Maybe you have that in your hip pocket if you need it.
Here's the stat lines for Gannett coming into tonight, by the way, from the regular season. As mentioned, 9 touchdowns, 892 passing yards. Him and Soja near identical in their passing yards, just a difference of 8 yards coming into the postseason. 2nd and 3 is how they spot it, and trouble on the snap. Gannett dives on it. And Gannett does hold on to it, but now it's 3rd down.
Yeah, we're going to get in here on the replay. I just want to take a look to see what happens here. And it just looked like the ball didn't come up sideways. It looked like it came up like completely narrow. I would have to see that and really super slow. Regardless, the offense stays on the field now because it's a 40-yard field goal, probably on the brink of the range. But Soja is indeed at quarterback for this play. Gannett splits out wide.
So they go for it on 3rd and medium. Soja takes the 1, gets it up for the 1st down, and brought down at about the 28, 29-yard line, which would be enough to move the chains it is.
Yeah, so far the entire offense in this second half has been quarterbacks running the ball. 3rd time for Soja and 1 time for Gannett. Either way, you have a 1st down, and that indeed puts them in nearing the red zone, but in a good position to at least come away with a potential field goal attempt should they need it.
And so with that, Soja stays as the quarterback, but Gannett stays out as a wide receiver. Keep an eye on the top. They go the opposite way. Soja breaks away from 1, but a flag is down around the 26. And another flag. Flags continue to rain down like the raindrops.
So I don't think he picked up any yardage there, but it looked like, yeah, you had a receiver just jump the gun just a little bit. Maybe they take the result of the play and they keep it 2nd down and 11. But this is, again, straight design run. This is a quarterback sweep, no question about it. Here's the call.
Offside. Offense. That penalty is declined. 2nd down.
So it is confirmed here. Mind you, St. Clair kept the penalties down for most of the regular season. This has been a big increase here to start the playoff.
Yeah, 5-yard penalty. Again, you never want to have them, but nonetheless, it was a smaller one.
And where was that going?
Miscommunication. Quarterback to quarterback. Matthew Gannett thought Soja was going on the go route. Soja stopped on the hook route, and they end up having to bring out the field goal unit, it looks.
So 3rd and long, and Preston Knight so far has scored a majority of St. Clair's points. And you can see the discussion on the sideline with Coach Lachance. However, for Knight, this is his longest attempt of the night now, 36 yards. His others came from the right hash, this one from the left. A return man already back for the Sooners. Looking, blowing through, just enough and good. And a 4th Preston Knight field goal extends the gap. 19-1.
Yeah, so the exchange ended up costing Ottawa a point, because if they'd given up the safety and they maybe flipped the field and they held them, they would have been getting the ball back. But, okay, nonetheless, good job by the Ottawa defense. They didn't give up a touchdown, but you see here on the replay that works its way inside that right upright for a field goal. And the recipe last time around was Ottawa making a lot of field goals to keep them in the game. This time it's the Saints making their 4th field goal of the game to extend their lead to 18, which is now 3 scores.
Coming up now under 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, 19-1 Saints here on We Digital. Just brings alongside Badiquaz as we make our way through the midway point of the 3rd quarter of play in the semifinal. Cowan looking to pass now on 1st down and dropped. Stuart Sinclair open on the route. 2nd down.
Yeah, and Sinclair had some room to run had he had this, because he had a good position on the trail defender. So the ball was put in a spot that is indeed catchable, and unfortunately for the Sooners, it went through his hands, bringing up 2nd and long.
So they mark it back at the 35 in turn for 2nd down. Look at the St. Clair defenders as they look to set things up here. 3 wide receivers set up to the right of Cowan. Looking to pass. Feeling a lot of pressure again. Ibrahim. And throw it along, complete. Enough for a 1st down. Back to Stuart St. Clair and boom, down the side. That's enough for a 1st down. Stuart St. Clair makes up for the initial drop and goes even more yards.
Yeah, and this one here, Cowan, it's hard for defenders to stay with the receivers that long, and Cowan was able to extend the play with his legs because Ibrahim was unable to keep his containment, and that allowed time for the quarterback to reestablish his footing and get a good passing attempt to his Sinclair, who is dragging all the way across the field for a big gain.
1st and 10 now, just shy to center field. 3 back in the motion, make it 4. Bounced around him for a moment. Cowan looks to throw. Incomplete. That time intended for his top target all season, Marcus Lynch.
Yeah, and they had straight man with help over the top of that, and the ball hung up. They're throwing it into the wind. I don't mind you trying to get it to your playmakers. He had one person in mind on this one here, but stride for stride. They had under-over coverage there. It was not going to be completed. More of a risk of an interception if that ball hangs up a little bit more, and Nathaniel Norton could have possibly ran under that.
So 2nd and 10 now. Have the secondary back in. This time, this is Barbargios. Cowan looks to pass, complete. Picked up by Wilson. Wilson runs the opposite side. Right into a sea of traffic. And short of the 1st down. More pushing in the heart of the huddle for a moment.
Yeah, it's been chirpy all game long. You're gonna get that all game long. You got 2 teams competing for a chance to play for a championship. So you're gonna have some heated exchanges, but nonetheless, good catch, good run. Punt and pin them deep. If you're the defense, maybe stay in a cautious set. You don't want to give up anything in there. You got your 2 end men. Your defensive ends playing and hopefully containing, as both of them combined for, like you said earlier, 12 sacks, Justin.
And they've been difficult to stop throughout the night. Ibrahim especially has broken through on several hurries on passes, already a couple sacks tonight as well. So 3rd and 3. And the punt unit comes back out here under 6 minutes to go in the 3rd. Will they try and get a little bit artsy with it? No. They kick it very short, however. And it rolls out at the 31-yard line. No one touched it.
Not doing a good job with the punting. Again, if you're trying to punt it out of bounds and trying to angle it and get out, well, you got it out of bounds, but you were kind of hoping to get that ball maybe pinned inside the 20 rather than around the 30, 31-yard line. But it did safely roll out of bounds without any semblance of a return. So that's a good thing because the Saints have had success against Ottawa in the punt return game.
So that sets things up in solid field position. Keep in mind, the Sooners averaged about 32 yards a punt on 32 punts in the regular season before tonight. Socha now at the quarterback, and a timeout. St. Clair takes it. They're down to 4 on the play clock.
Yes, and the problem with it is their personnel. They have the wrong personnel grouping on the field right now, so there's miscommunication coming from the sideline.
Still a few more All-Stars to talk about. The leading tackler for the Saints, Kewan Parker, we haven't mentioned him much tonight. MJ Doyle Marshall, though, he's had a few carries tonight, but averaged 9.3 yards a carry in the regular season.
Yeah, he's had a tremendous regular season. A little slow tonight. This credit to the Sooners defense. Keon Parker, he had that big hit on Sinclair on the sideline we just saw a minute ago. Good physical football player.
In turn, though, we set things back up once again for 1st and 10. Personnel updated. Personnel dances around. Soja dances around in the pocket. Feeling some pressure. Throws it off his back foot. Finds Lewis. Brought down the sideline across center field. Lewis spins down to about the 46.
Yeah, and that's the arm strength that is underappreciated, I guess, from Soja's perspective. He rolls to his left, and he still has enough arm strength to get this over the under coverage, and that's it. It just, he has enough zip, and that just goes right over top. And Javale Lewis is able to make one guy miss on the little cut, and he picks up about 10 more yards after the first contact. So now you have the Saints pressing into the Sooner territory with a 1st and 10.
Ball spotted at the 46. Under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter of play. So jump play action. Lewis has the blocker. Goes to Ute. Brought down after the catch. Pick up of more than 5 yards. 2nd and medium.
Yeah, maybe a little miscommunication on the route combination on the top of that screen, on the top of that route, because you had 2 receivers sort of right on top of each other, and Darius France and Yute were sort of settled into the same area. I suspect there was somebody who was supposed to carry through and somebody was supposed to go a little wider. Not necessarily the greatest separation on that combination, but nonetheless a 6-yard gain.
2nd and 4. Lewis sent out wide. 4 back in motion. Soja runs to his left. Has a sea of tacklers to run around. Gets tackled right around the sticks. And a late flag. 2 players, Sharpie again off the ball. Roman Reed, along with MJ Doyle Marshall tied together. 1 player sent in a cartwheel.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, if that's the case, you're looking at just somebody roughhousing and throwing the person down late. We'll see what the call is, because he did not get enough for the 1st down, I do not think.
After the play, unnecessary roughness, offense, 15-yard penalty, it is 3rd down.
What a huge mistake. You would have had 3rd down and 1 with the possibility of going for it, and then the play's going to stand, and then you end up with a unnecessary roughness way past the play. And I know Doyle Marshall was probably trying to finish his block there, but the whistle went, and you have to be able to restrain yourself from that last little push down. Can't really see it in our screen right there, as it was Soja who was dragged down, but the punt coming.
Punted away by Knight. Picked up inside the 15. Looking for a little bit of space is Lynch. Lynch doesn't get that space. Brought down around the 25-yard line. The Sooners take to the field. Still down by about 18 points.
Yeah, good punt. You keep it to the outside, bounce, so he can't get it in the air. Not a lot of momentum, and he picked up about 7-8 yards on that. So you're going to pin him inside their own 30-yard line. Looks like at the 25, actually. And now, if you are the Saints, if you can just hold them to a 2-and-out here, you'll get at least 1 more solid possession with the wind. Because they're not out of this. Ottawa's not out of this. And if the quarter turns and they're down 18, they can then maybe play the field position game with the wind.
4 in the motion this time for Cowan. He tries to get in on the quarterback runs. Brought down around the 27, 28-yard line, in fact. A pickup of a couple for Cowan.
And real good lane discipline by the defensive linemen there. They didn't get themselves upfield way past the rushing lanes. Cowan actually had to stutter in the backfield, which negated any momentum going forward on that quarterback run. And that delayed draw was able to get cleaned up by the linebacker, and that was Burkich who came up, limiting that carry to 2 yards.
And as talked about, Cowan actually led the league in passing yards by a sizable margin. However, the St. Clair duel, 2 and 3 in the regular season. Cowan, 2nd and 8. Can't get out of trouble. Ball pops out, flag is out. St. Clair brings it into the end zone, but does it stand? A flag is down at the 26-yard line. Mo Ibrahim runs it in, and a second flag is now down at center field.
Yeah, and I think my eyes tell me these are both against Ottawa. It looked like there was a hold on Ottawa initially, and then the late flag, it looked like there was somebody who may have got a little bit of a swing in at the midfield stripe. So this could end up being a touchdown after the fumble, because the score happened. So you'll see here on the sack, this ball is clearly out, and you got Mo Ibrahim on this pickup here. So that play looks like it's going to stand. If it is against Ottawa, we'll have to see. But my eyes told me both of these are against Ottawa, but I'll let the officials sort this one out here to make sure what we have here.
See that discussion. They are starting to point towards Ottawa's direction a couple times over here, so this may stand. We'll see what the call is officially. Here's Jake Ireland.
During the play, we had illegal contact on the defense. That's a 10-yard penalty, which results in a first down. After the play, we have a taunting on this objectionable conduct against the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty. It is 1st and 10.
Okay, so they called illegal contact. So illegal contact on the receiver down the field. I thought there was a hold. Either way, that negates the sack and the fumble. So that there alone is going to give them a first down. But then after the play, the objectionable conduct moves it back 10, 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line. The officials I guess Coach LaChance wants a little bit of an explanation here as to what happened. But the objectionable conduct was post-play, so the initial penalty has to be applied first, which gives them a first down.
And now Coach LaChance making his way out onto the field to get that understanding.
But yeah, he's wondering why it's first down again. But what they're saying is we do have to apply the penalties, in this case in the order, and then they're going to move it up and then move them back. So he's not necessarily happy with the call, but it is applied correctly.
We'll say Coach LaChance coming into the postseason, when he is coaching the CJFL, one of the longest tenure coaches in the country in the history of the CJFL. Very successful in postseason history. The accolades are pretty high when it comes to Coach LaChance as a whole, though.
Absolutely.
1st and 10 from the 28 now. Sooners communicating, making an audible with 9 on the play clock. 3 in the motion. Cowan looks to pass. Looks over the top, incomplete, intended for Stuart Sinclair. He liked what he's seen, just couldn't get the target.
He did, and it was he actually had a lot of zip on that ball into the wind. It didn't actually sail on him. He drove that. That ball was driven well. Just Billy Patterson was right there, and maybe he led that to the middle of the field just a little bit too much, thinking he didn't want to shorthand it and let Billy Patterson Jr. undercut that.
So back to 2nd down with about 2 minutes to go. Ottawa looking for something on offense. They want a shot here. 4 receivers set up on the pitch, make it 5, should say. 3 in the motion. Cowan looking to his left, scrambles to his right. Throws it on the motion. Over the top, complete. Good enough for the first down and then some. Okawo runs to the other side, looking to get a sprint race, and it's dropped. Inside the 15, the Sooners drop it, and the Saints pick it up. Wow.
Well, the Saints dodge a huge bullet there. They lose containment. Cowan puts it on his guy. It looks like the receiver gets lost in coverage. Nathaniel Norton gets caught underneath the route and cannot recover enough. And the receiver has the ball. He is working his way and actually could very well have escorted himself into the end zone there, and it just slips out of his hand as he cuts. He just flat out dropped the ball. Wow, what a huge break. That was not a forced fumble. That is just a huge break for the Saints.
So it's Kazadi who picks it up on the fumble recovery. And for the second time, the Sooners players break into the red zone and fumbled the ball. Gannett looking to scramble out of trouble, meanwhile on 1st down, throws it away, and his target was already 5 yards out of bounds and not even in the eligibility for the play.
Yeah, but that was just good on Gannett to make sure he gets it back to the line of scrimmage. No receiver needed, out of the pocket, in the pocket, just let her go. Don't take the sack, and in this case, live to play another 2nd and 10. There was nothing had there.
Clock now rolls forward, under a minute to go in this third quarter of play.
Both Soja and Gannett in the offensive huddle.
They've utilized this look a fair bit tonight. One target to the quarterback from the other. Does it happen again? Soja sets up on the bottom, and now it goes over Gannett's head. A dive in the end zone. Gannett comes up with it, and that may be, yes, the safety. That is 3 points now for the Sooners tonight.
Yeah, and that's a miscue, obviously. It's a high snap. This thing has just sailed over him. Like, Gannett has to jump, and it barely touches his fingers. The Saints dodged the bullet this time because they're able to fall on it right away and only give up the safety. Now the Sooners have the ball at their own 35-yard line. Not ideal, not devastating because they didn't give up the touchdown, but now it is a 2-possession game again. Justin, we're 16 points.
Yeah.
That cushion is no longer 3 scores. 2 touchdowns with 2 2-point conversions puts the ball back into play with 2 scores.
It's just doing the math. Yeah, that could be another thriller in the makes here, potentially from the Sooners, if they can get the offense going. And better yet, hold on to the ball inside the 20.
No question.
Cowan trying to get his teammates to set up on the offense. 3 receivers set up to his right again. Cowan adjusts to the left. 3 on the play clock. Cowan looks to his left again. Looks over the top again. Looks and gets it intercepted this time. Intercepted by Nate Norden. And Norden this time read it quickly.
Yeah, fool me once. Nah, fool me twice. He says, hey, listen, you got me once. Not going to let you get me again. He sat deep on that and made sure that there's no way this ball was going to get over top of him or any player is going to get leverage on him. He secures the interception, and now the Saints have the ball at their own 40-yard line, averting that disaster, if you will, of maybe them piling on points when they turn with the wind.
So 1st and 10 for the 41 as a result of the interception by the 2-time OFC All-Star. 3 in the motion. Soja now the quarterback. Looking to get out of some trouble. Tries to squiggle through, still standing up. Picks up a couple yards to make it 2nd and long.
And there's a picture of Norton right there as he gets it. I do think Maurice Soja missed a player there. I thought Doyle Marshall was open on that little sort of circle route they ran earlier where Gannett hit him. Just not there. He goes to his instinctual play where he wants to scramble.
And on that note, though, 3 quarters of play, 19-3 in a thriller. Here are the OFC semifinals on We Did It All. Back after this. Welcome back to Acumen Stadium. 4th quarter play underway, 19-3 your score. As the St. Clair Saints have the ball for 2nd and 7 for the 44. Justin Prince-Padiquas with you. And we start things off with a flag for the 4th quarter. Not even out of the huddle yet. What happened here?
Well, they're just counting to see if they have 13 men. He might be picking it up. Just calm. Everyone needs to be calm. The official just maybe made a simple little miscount. He thought they were 13, and that's okay. They got it. Everyone needs to calm down. They're human.
So, with that interesting start, there's still 8 on the play clock as they make their way out of the huddle. Already almost 30 seconds into the 4th quarter, though, as a result of the roll. Saints struggling to get the play off. And lots of tempers blowing. Ute didn't even get to the line of scrimmage yet to set up for the play.
Yeah, and this time they are just scrambling. They come out of the quarter.
And that's a time clock violation. 2nd and long as a result, or longer. And, well, that's not the best of ways to start rhythm-wise here.
No, and the big thing is they're going into the wind right now. So you don't want to back yourselves up. If you can at least keep it near midfield and punt and make the longer field for Ottawa, don't shorten the field by going backwards for yourself.
Well, wide receiver look. Soja looks to pass on 2nd and long. Goes to the middle. Incomplete. They say it bounced in front of Burmaster. And Burmaster now gets helped up as it's now 3rd down.
See here on the replay, just a little bit low, and it looks like he got it between his legs as that thing just sort of nosedived on him and unable to come up with that. And he's been quiet right now, and he has been a very, very solid receiver all year long, super reliable. I know most of the attention goes to Lewis in France, but he's been exceptionally reliable all season long.
Knight, meanwhile, sets up with a punt. High flying. Goes to the up man, in fact, this time. Returned quickly to about the 49-50 yard line. And now some more emotions.
Yeah, and both teams need to keep this sort of on balance because the referees are.
Oh, and now there's a push.
See, and yes, and Saints guy went down at the end, so you got it. Now, I don't see a flag up yet. But what I am going to say is both teams have a potential championship on the line. You do not need to get yourself ejected, nor do you need to take that stupid penalty, which would compromise your chances of getting to that conference final next week here. Good kick, good coverage. He picked up about 6. The tacklers are all there. The return man had nowhere to go. And as the scrum unpiled, they were able to go without any penalties.
So, the ball spotted at the 50 for 1st down. 14 minutes here in this 4th quarter of play. Ottawa needs points. 5 wide receiver look, 3 in the motion. 1 stops with a bubble, and it's dropped by Lynch on the bubble.
That was close. That was about a yard, maybe a half yard from being a lateral. It was forward, no question about it, but that was awfully close.
And it was pretty clear straight to Lynch.
Yeah, that was awfully close. Like, and as on that replay, that might not have even been a yard. That might have been like 4 or 5 inches forward.
In turn, though, 2nd down. Running game's been stuffed for a fair bit. They've gone more so to the passing game. Cowan has.
For sure, and he does have an arm. He can throw.
Can he get himself a completion on 2nd and long? More pressure from Ibrahim, trying to squirt it out. Flag comes out, intentional grounding, possibly here. Hold on 1 second, a second flag's come out as more players are discussing things at the 40. 3 flags are now out. Words all over the field. And now the officials have a lot to discuss because of the secondary flags, about 15 to 30 yards off the ball.
So we got after the play, we got a sack, or we have intentional grounding, I believe is the first call. And because they're discussing what's the back end of it, so we'll see how it applies after.
We have an intentional grounding on the offense. We have an unnecessary roughness on the defense. We're going after.
And you may have just heard something from the Sooner side.
Unnecessary roughness charge to defense.
So the ball was ruled dead.
Another one. I think they just heard something behind them and didn't like what they were hearing during that call.
So, hey, listen, I'm going to try to sort this out for you on the park.
Correction. The unnecessary roughness was against the offense after the play. We're going back 15 yards. It'll be 3rd down.
Okay. So the penalties were on both on Ottawa, not on the Saints. So you have the intentional grounding, and now the unnecessary roughness is going to be applied after the play. So it's going backwards on them. So now you're going to end up with second down and what amounts to about
Third down.
30.
Third down, in fact.
So the play's going to stand on the intentional grounding, roll over the down, back them up, and now you have a third down play from the 37.
Both teams still trying to sort out what to do here.
From the 21, 37 to go. They had indicated the wrong way, so initially I thought they were going to take the intentional grounding, and then the rough play automatically gives them a first down regardless of how much yards they have to make up. But that is not the case. The play is going to roll over afterwards. You add on the 15 yards, so the result of the play brought up third down, and now you're going to have 15 yards on top of it. So now you're going to likely get the ball for the Saints at around midfield.
So third and very long. Punted away with the wind. Picked up just around center field. And this time the return, Bumbako, his first return of the day. Gets them a sizable one inside Ottawa territory.
Now, if as being an offensive line guy, my passion, my love, and you'll see here on the return that Calhoun catches this ball. Sorry, that was Bumbako who caught the ball and pushed forward across to the 42-yard line. My pride is telling me, hey, coach, let's just run the ball down their throat into the wind. Let's get one more score, and we're going to put an end to this.
Keep in mind, they've been facing an all-star place kicker that's had a very good kicking season, punting season. Noah Nelson also very quietly also has been an all-star throughout the season, but quiet tonight, should say. Gannett, meanwhile, gets Ute involved in the offense for the first down.
Yeah, I think he could have made himself a little easier. We'll see the graphic again of the All-Stars here, Justin, but I think we could have had maybe a little easier throw if he would have just threw the swing to Boris Wright. I think he had a lot of room for the catch and run, but his eyes never took him there. But he did find Lewis there, Yuyut, and he was able to cross the 30 into the 26-yard line. And now they are primed for some added points to extend what is already a 16-point lead.
Knight already practicing just in case with how things have fared field goal wise tonight. Down to the ground. Right. Tumbleweeds forward, but marked down to the 25, a gain of 1. Second and long.
Yeah, just a shoestring tackle. Shoestring tackle. Now, they did make a change at center. They took their center, who was their all-star, who's played guard and tackle, moved him back to the right tackle, and they've brought in number 50
Simon
to play
Keck.
center.
Simon Keck. So continuing to shuffle things here. That's similar to what they did in the last games of the season, too. Gannett, second and 9. Incomplete. His target, France, down before they even got to the end zone. And that makes it third down.
All right, so now you're going to challenge your leg into the wind here. This is probably the longest aided into the wind, sort of, not aided, but into the wind kick he's going to have faced for the most part. 32 yards. His previous kicks with the wind, Justin, have easily made it. So it is in his range. Just needs to drive this thing. The protection has to be there.
Darius France away a couple catches tonight. He averaged 55 coming in. Did see him getting some stretches down on the sideline the previous drive as well. Knight, meanwhile, field goal, blows around the pole and in.
But we have another offside. But again, it's not enough for a first down. It's not enough for a first down, so I don't think you're going to take the points off the board here. So we're just going to decline it.
There's the flag.
And there's the call from the official.
And field goal's good.
And the field goal is good. So now you're sitting at 19 points again. 3-score game. Ottawa through 50 minutes of the game so far, 49, has only mustered 3 points. A safety conceded on a bad snap, plus the opening single. However, they did turn the ball over twice in the red zone. They haven't capitalized, but you have a tall order considering your offense hasn't put any scores up yet, not even as much as a field goal.
1st and 10 from the 35 as a result of the made field goal. Set things up with the wide receivers again to the top. Been a majority of their plays from the air tonight. Cowan hands it off this time though. This is Brown. Brown tries to run sideways and loses some yards. If anything, yes.
Yeah, the counter tray again. They're trying to pull the two guys around the outside, and the fact is the penetration is forcing the running back to extend this. When you get that upfield penetration like that and you have to reroute, it's impossible to get downhill. It's a counter play. You're not supposed to go that wide on this, and as he gets rerouted, the spill forces help to come from the outside, and next thing you know, you end up losing 2-3 yards. So it's 2nd down and 13, which is the similar problem that's plagued Ottawa all game long, being behind the chains on that 1st down play.
We'll set things up again with 2 in the motion. Cowan gets some protection, tries to sprint through it, forced to sprint back, trying to stiff arm some, can't. Marked down to the 25 on the sack.
And there's your all-star, number 11. Yeah. He just came up and he finished that thing off, and now Ottawa is just scrambling. The pressure is getting to them. The offensive line is getting just a little bit tired right now. They're getting beat up, and there's nothing to be had. 3 guys there to take him down. You're going backwards on consecutive plays. You have to now hope, if you're Ottawa, for a Saints mistake, and you can capitalize quickly. You have to hope for that.
So once again, our all-star placeholder back out and punter, Jad Oyuk again to return back for the Saints. Max protect again from Ottawa. And he's keeping it again and runs it again. This time directly to Bumbako. Bumbako jets off 1, jukes out a 2nd, knocked out by the 3rd and 4th. And a solid return again inside the 45. They try to get a little bit different with it for the 2nd time, and for the 2nd time, it's a return back into Ottawa territory.
Yeah, I think that's a design rugby-style kick. He's a good kicker. He just wants to get him out. It gives his coverage time to get down the field a little bit, and then he does get it off. But unfortunately, the coverage still wasn't great on it, as Bumbaka was able to pick up about 15 yards on that return. And the Saints now have it at, the 30? Oh, and there must be a flag or something because they're going backwards.
10-yard penalty.
Okay, we didn't see a flag on the field, but they're saying we got a illegal block in the back. So it's a 10-yard penalty, so that must have happened at around the 47-yard line going in as they back it up to the 52. Still relatively good field position for the Saints, but obviously not as good because they lost about 20 yards on the exchange.
That moves them back to St. Clair territory. McPhail starts as the defensive back, the full back rather. MJ Marshall, the running back. Kept this time by Soja. Tries to run through the sea of blockers again. And gets close to the chains. 1 yard shy, in fact, is the mark. 2nd and short.
No question. You just follow his blockers. Like you said, just get in there and it's an extra blocker. Your numbers don't always match up when you have an athletic quarterback because you have a fullback and a tailback on the field, and you can just get some extra leverage there. So now at 2nd and 1, don't be surprised to see that exact same thing. I like to call it a 12 ISO, 13 if you go left.
So now 2nd and short. High formation look. Aria moves around from left to right. Looking from the pass. Soja hops. Now tries to go to the left. Gets brought down for a loss of 1, however. And it's 3rd and short. And now his teammates checking on him.
Yeah, because he got thrown down on his right shoulder. That's his throwing shoulder. He got wrapped up and he got thrown down, and you'll see here on the replay after the deep play action, he steps up, he tries to scramble, but as he gets wrapped up, he's thrown down and landed and driven on his right throwing shoulder. That is the worst case scenario. I thought when they went under center, they could have easily got that quarterback sneak. A good thing he popped up on his own. Hopefully it was more of he was winded than anything else, Justin, because it looks like he's not grimacing from pain. So, yeah, so right there, he looks like he's spitting up a little. So, yeah, it could be he got the wind knocked out of him. Those things happen when you get pile drived and landed on by big men.
So on that note, the power look for 3rd and 2. They brought Ibrahim in to help block. Lewis all season's been taking the power snaps. These type of looks, they need 2 yards though. Oh, and they're telling Ottawa, get back. There's the flag
again.
Ottawa's officials, or rather the officials, were telling Ottawa you're offside before they even snapped it.
Most of the side judges will oftentimes say that. Back up, white, back up, green, depending on what color you have. They routinely will give you that. But they were clearly all encroached in that neutral zone. But not much push from the Saints defense interiorly initially. And you see Javé Lewis had to bounce that left. Now he did get the first down had he needed that, but they're just going to take the 5-yard penalty and the automatic first that goes with it, or the
Offside.
yards to gain.
Defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
So first down.
Yeah, so Gannett comes back in as Soja, just trying to gauge where he's at on the sideline. I haven't seen him, he might just be with the medical people, just getting a quick little examination, but he is not, in my view, right now on the sideline.
Remember, they talked about, the coaching staff did, prior to the start of the season, after the first game, with how things played out on a flag.
Yeah, and that's false start number 68. Yeah, your all-star, your big man. He just flinched. Bottom line is, when you're that big, you can't get hidden. There's no way around it. And once again, that is at El Nagami, and he just rolled his hips forward. He tried to hold himself up, but big bodies can't really hold him. They roll forward and they get him on the 5 yards.
Yeah.
1st and 15.
Well, there's your answer on Soja. He is standing on the sideline and as you can see, having a good conversation with our cameraman, Calvin.
Good. So it looks like it was more of a winded issue rather than on his shoulder.
So make it 1st and 15 rather. Hand it off to MJ Doyle Marshall. Gets knocked back, another loss of yards. They only give him a loss of 1, however. 2nd and 16.
Yeah, real nice play by Richard Graham as he's able to knife underneath his block, and he's able to get his hands on the running back. And actually, he wasn't even blocked. He came off the edge, hard heel line, and he was able to just knife through and make that tackle for a loss, bringing up at 2nd and forever.
And Soja Joyce thought he was coming out as quarterback. Turns out, no, he's not supposed to be out there.
Well, when you bring medical attention, you got to sit out 3 plays. So that was only 2. So this is the 3rd play. So the officials are doing their job, making sure player safety. He has to sit 3 plays before he can re-enter the game.
Gannett, design run. Gets a big block from McPhail. Bigger hit coming from behind. Pops the ball out. A hard hit coming from Nelson.
Yeah.
And
look, the Saints did recover it. It looks like Javé Lewis maybe. Yeah, Javé Lewis had it, but here was a big hit here. As you see Gannett, who is athletic himself, he gets hit from behind and the ball does jar loose, and it's going to bring up what is maybe a 3rd down and about 2. Maybe a long one. But Soja is now back in the game as they try to convert this 3rd down. So Gannett did a good job picking up 15 of those yards.
So they give it as a 3rd and 1. Power look, this time Soja to take the snap. Soja gets a lot of pushes from behind. And the push gets it up for the 1st down inside the 35-yard line.
Yeah, this time the Saints offensive linemen were able to lean forward. And this is exactly the kind of drive you want. You have 5 minutes left in the game. You just reset the chains. Even if you don't get a single point right now, even if you have to punt, the bottom line is you're going to take almost 2 more minutes off on this possession here. And maybe Ottawa gets the ball back down 19 points with 3 minutes or so left in the game. 2 more first downs could very well ice this game. But nonetheless, that's what you want to see, your O-line take over a game.
Under 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter of play. St. Clair looking to ice it. MJ Doyle Marshall bounces off the defenders. Pushed ahead to about the 22, which looks to be close, if not enough for the first.
It was, and he did have to work for that as he sort of pressed the hole, kept going until he got a little bit more daylight, and he did indeed pick up 10 yards and get a first down. So now at the 23-yard line, and as you see some more offensive all-stars than Soija and El Nagami with the offensive line.
And it's hard to pick when you have a 1A and 1B in the St. Clair system. Soja getting the advantage because not only the passing game's been efficient, the running game's efficient, top 5 in running for rushing yards on the season.
No question. But it looks like they're going to get a time count violation here.
Another one.
Nope, a timeout was called beforehand.
But there is a flag on the field.
That's okay. The side guy got the timeout before the flag was thrown, so the head referee is going to indicate that. So the Saints now, in this case, it's not devastating that you lose that timeout. You're comfortably up and you're approaching the 3-minute warning. Most important thing is ball possession right now and keeping the drive going. So take your penalty or take your timeout.
Let's take the time to talk about the 1B feeders next because alluded to it a bit. One of the best running performances by a running back in the history of the OFC. LJ Dyer, second consecutive All-Star, won the rushing title, 1,158 yards. However, broke the team record, was amongst the top 10 all-time in the CJFL in rushing yards in a season, and the best by far in the province. Only one of the top 10, in fact.
Yeah, he had a fantastic season. Credit to their offensive line as well. And it looks like they're going to be coming down to Windsor next week to play these Saints here as Soy just scrambles up the middle for what looks like about a 3-yard gain.
So brought down for a pick of about 4 or 5 to mark it second and medium. But again, Ottawa had a stellar campaign. Here's a look at the replay. But the Sooners, you talked about it, picked up a lot of momentum to end off the season, picked up a lot on the coaching front. It became one of the most revered teams. The first time these two teams matching up since 2017 in the postseason.
Yes, and the thing is with Ottawa is it appears they've made an investment in the team and in the community and that they want to win. So we'll see what Coach Lang does with this moving forward. Hopefully it's a staple because having 4, 5, 6 teams in the league makes it so much more wonderful.
Flags down. Laria picks up the reception for the TD, but does it stand? 2 flags down to the line of scrimmage at the snap.
And it looks like we have an offside again on the Sooners, and you get the touchdown to stand, and that is just sort of the cherry on top. And you know what? It's just one of those ones where after what we saw a couple years ago, like, look, you need to put as many points as you possibly can. You don't want to leave anything to chance.
No.
You know they're going to take a calculated gamble. However, this one,
wide open.
I don't know. There was a break in coverage. Somehow they allowed the receiver to leak out to the corner of the end zone uncovered, and that was easy, simple pitch and catch.
Inside 3-minute warning, and the points do stand with the touchdown.
And we got a procedure. Again, you got one of the offensive linemen shaking and baking inside, and when you shake that bacon, you end up drawing the attention of the flag. No question about it. Looked like an offensive lineman rolled around again.
We'll repeat the convert and fly 5 yards on a kickoff.
And that moves things back a little bit for the extra point attempt.
No, they're going to leave it there. Looks like Ottawa's going to put it on the kickoff, so they're going to back them up on the kick. But we're good. They're going to kick from the normal spot here.
So Knight sets up for the extra point attempt to try to extend the gap to 29-3. And up and through. There it is. That extends the gap to 26.
Yeah, so now the fans here at Acumen Stadium can take a deep sigh of relief because now they know there's going to be another game here next week. And proud to say that we will be presenting it here from We Digital next Saturday. If we do get official word on all the details, we will send it to you as soon as we get the official confirmation for that. But with 2:39 left in this final quarter, it looks like the Ottawa Sooners, despite having a good season and in my assessment, despite being clearly the third best team in this conference, I do believe they are a better football team as it stands this minute than Ottawa. That could change next year, and hopefully Ottawa's even better next year. Hopefully Ottawa lives up to that sort of top 10 billing, because the only way this league is going to get better is if all the teams get better, more competitive games across the board in every area where it's being played.
So they set up for the kickoff meanwhile. Knight looks to boot it aside. Right on the cue of the fan who shouts go. Return this time from one of the gut men. Vargios, and that brought down near midfield, and here we go again.
So now another push. The player was trying to get off the pile. A Saints player was simply trying to get out of there, and an Ottawa player pushed him and threw him.
And now Lynch is throwing his helmet.
Yeah, so I hate to see this stuff here, especially if a player gets ejected. Some of those ejections carry over to next year, because if you get ejected and there's an add-on suspension, you got to be cognizant of that. You don't want to put yourself to miss an opening game.
We have offsetting unnecessary roughing penalties against 85 on the return team, 22 on the kicking team. First down.
So they go offsetting on that. So there was two guys there. I didn't see the second one, but I definitely saw the first one, because you're going to see that looks like it's number 56. Yeah, we don't extend to it because we got to get back to the play.
So Ottawa looks to close things out on a high note. 3 in the motion. Cowan scrambles up the middle, has a lot of space to run, stiff arms a man, runs out past the 50, marked down at about the 45. And Cowan showing a little bit of power there. And meet the stiff arm attempt.
Yeah, he is. And last time he was here, he impressed me with how hard he ran. So that's not a surprise that he was able to, when he had a head of steam, push a defender down as he extended. As long as he doesn't grasp or violently make contact, he can extend his arm and it can come to the face, as long as it's not an extension of the arm or a grasp of the face mask with a violent hit to the head.
3 back in the motion again for 1st and 10 for the 45. Picked up short. Complete. And brought down by Brendan Adams this time, the 6'3" receiver. So that sets up 2nd and medium. But in turn, keep in mind a busy time coming up here.
Yeah, we'll see on the replay. It actually ended up being only about 2 yards, Justin, so it wasn't as much as it looked like it could have been, as the ball was thrown from the right hash all the way across to the left side of the formation. So we only picked up 2 yards, but we do have the ball carrier, number 4, Brown. Looks like he's down on the ground.
And immediately some of the players rushing on forward here. Brown being checked up by the training staff. Don't want to see that with only 2 minutes to go in a game, let alone at all in the fourth quarter.
He reached for his leg right away, so I don't know if it's a cramp. Again, might be just one of those ones where he's just cramping up just a little bit. His right ankle is taped up a little higher than what you see on the left. The left looks like it maybe just has a underneath tape job, whereas this one looks like it's spatted on the shoe as well. So we're not sure if he was nursing or banged it up a little bit earlier. Nonetheless, you don't want to finish your season off hobbling off to the sideline.
So as he's brought to the sideline, 2nd and 8, 2:11 to go here in the semifinal. Setting up with the 5 wide receiver look. Cowan to pass. More pressure. Fabre this time providing it. Fabre brings the tackle down. It's still technically a gain of a couple yards, but the ball does squeak out here.
The referee has already indicated that he is down. Chris Krybich, who is the sideline judge, already indicated down, so the tackle was made. It's going to bring up a third down. So you'll see as Fabre hustles down to get him, he's down on the ground, and then the ball squirts out. We'd have to see maybe a slightly different angle if it came out beforehand. Maybe this will show us. No, his knee is down, and then the ball squirts out. So, needless to say, that is out. But just for anyone who's watching, that replay showed a good angle. In Canada, you don't actually have to possess the ball to retain possession. That was the last touch. Had that been ruled a fumble, it was the last touch by the Saints. The Saints would have gained possession on that because it's the last team to touch it as it goes out of bounds.
In turn, though, why don't we get things going with a long field goal with under 2 minutes to go?
We know he has a leg.
Hoyak, the all-star kicker. It's short. Bounces right at the goal line, picked up for the end zone. Flags are down. Bumbako has another flag down. Carries a man. Another flag is down. Make it 4 flags.
All right. So
now we get some tempers. And now here come the rest of the Saints sideline.
Yeah, multiple flags on the field. You're going to get at least 2 against the Saints. I know that. And at least 1 against the Sooners. The Sooners is going to be a face mask. Saw that right away.
There's the first in the background, too.
You got a first one, so you got a rough play, and it looks like you had a
definite face mask.
100% face mask right there. And then you had a blindside or what maybe amounted to a peel-back block against the Saints. So we'll see how many of these end up working their way through. So let's get this call here. 4 flags. I think there's at least 3 infractions. And we had a referee, looked like he was reaching for his hat, but we'll see what they pile this on as it goes. And now Coach
we have offsetting unnecessary roughness penalties. We have a first down.
And in turn, things still getting sorted out as LaChance and Morency group the players together as they look to discuss things before this game closes.
Yeah, they're telling them, don't do anything stupid. Keep your mouth shut. Don't retaliate. Don't do anything. You got a championship game to play next week. There's nothing to be had here. I would not be surprised if the Saints just concede, take the knee, and then Ottawa allows them to run this out here, but we'll see if that's the case. I know there's not enough time on the clock technically. So you got 1 block right there from behind. Now that, again, is a peel back. You can't work towards your line of scrimmage. You got a face mask here coming up. So maybe those are the only 2 flags and they offset each other.
In turn, though, ball spotted at the 29, and right now the Ottawa sideline wants clarification. Coach Lane still discussing things. He's also the president GM, mind you, of the program.
My only thing is I don't know where the spot of the ball should be. The first flag that was deep, that was the blindside block. And I'm not sure if it should have been applied from that initial one nearer the 10-yard line. The extension of the return had a face mask. So those 2 in the sense of offsetting, I don't know if they can offset that way. I'll ask for clarification on that. But the first flag was the one that was deep inside the 10-yard line, and that looked like it was that blindside block. And you can see Coach Ling telling the sideline from Windsor that they're okay to take a knee and they'll just end it. And he's saying, yes, we'll concede and take a knee, and we can just blow the whistle right now and end it.
Minute 24 on the clock itself.
And that's what the referees are doing. The referees are winding it in. They're not going to start the play clock. They're letting this go down, and they're going to take this last minute down, and they're going to just kneel this thing out here. And that's what they're doing. So, and I like this by both coaching staffs. I like the staffs just saying to themselves, hey, and look, the sideline is a little excited. Guys, temper your expectations, temper your excitements just a little bit. You got a finals to play next week.
Yes.
Save that energy for the conference final next week. Yes, it's a big win. Yes, you want to have it, but it's not quite the championship. So we're going to let these last 40 seconds go all the way down and then obviously kill the game. In Canada, you got to actually let the clocks go down to zeros, unlike in the U.S. game where they could just wave the flag, blow the whistle, and that's it.
And some of the coaching staff, by the way, is actually going up there to discuss things. And now what's going on here? Clock is still rolling.
Yes.
Now Coach Shantz is clarifying something.
He's just wondering about, I'm not sure what he's asking him for. Okay.
So, on that note, regardless, we're down to 5 seconds nearly on the clock.
They're going to take this knee right here, and they're going to wrap this thing up.
Clock is to full zeros. All they need to do is take a knee. 29-3, the score on the board. There's the knee. There's the game. The St. Clair Saints are off to the OFC Finals again. A 26-point victory. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are Ottawa came down and stayed in this game as long as they possibly could, but their offense just couldn't meet the match of the Saints' defense. Just too many mistakes. Those 2 penalties proved to be way too costly. They easily could have had 2 scores on the board to make this a game coming down the wire. They just made those 2 critical mistakes, and that turned out to be the difference, Justin.
And in turn, they will take on the London Beefeaters in about a week's time. Already that date set for Saturday, October the 21st, a 6:50 p.m. start for the broadcast coverage here on WeDigital.ca. So once again, St. Clair continues their undefeated run of 2023's campaign, 9-0, including the postseason. Sooners 4-4 in the regular season, fall in the semifinals. Dominic Papa getting ready along the sideline for post-game coverage here of tonight's action here from Acumen Stadium. So on that note, as Dom Papa gets sorted out, get ready to send it off towards his direction once again. Final score of this one, 29 for the St. Clair Saints, 3 for the visiting Ottawa Sooners. Once more for the OFC semifinals from Windsor, Ontario.
Down here on field level, a victorious St. Clair Saints football team. They move on to the OFC Championship game. Two key guys right here, Maurice Soja, Matthew Burnett, the quarterbacking tandem for the Saints. First of all, congratulations, guys. Quick thoughts about the game and where you thought you guys put this away.
Well, we knew it wasn't going to be easy. We came out here. We knew we just have to run the ball good. We was going to have to take opportunities when we can, and that's what we did tonight. We just went out here and played our game.
They were very aggressive, Matt. They were a chippy team to play against. How tough was it to keep the guys focused, their composure, and just execute the way you guys could?
You know, every time we went out there, we had to make sure they kept their head down, kept calm, and there was a lot of talking back and forth between everybody, just make sure they stayed in the right mindset.
Offensively, it was tough in the first half. 9-1 was the score, but didn't get a touchdown. Did you guys talk about that at halftime at all?
Yeah, we just talked. We got to finish. I mean, we'll drive the ball down the field and we'll end in 3. We told ourselves we're not ending in 3 no more. We're gonna go out there and put points on the board.
Exactly what we did too.
Yeah. What changed? Did anything change? Did you do anything differently to make that happen?
No, not really. We just started playing better. We
played our game.
Yeah, played our game.
Okay, so now I know it's your first year here, Matt, but I'm sure you understand what this London-St. Clair-Windsor rivalry is all about. How exciting is it for you to get to that championship game? Obviously, that's what you came here for.
Right. I'm very excited. I mean, I'm ready to step up to the table whoever comes at us, so I'm ready.
And of course, Matt, you grew up with this stuff, so you know what it's all about. And just your quick thoughts about London coming in here next week, and a good week of preparation is going to be needed.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a hell of a game. Both teams are going to play their hearts out, and we're going to see who comes out victorious, but it's going to be us.
Okay, well, we're definitely keeping our fingers crossed. You guys have done a great job together this year. Continued success. Thanks for doing this with us tonight. Get over and celebrate just for tonight, though. Back to work tomorrow.
Thank you.
Two great players right here, Maurice Soja and Matthew Gannett, enjoying a victory. You guys can go. I'm done with you. Good to see you. Okay. They even congratulate our Calvin has these guys. Our cameraman Calvin has these guys well trained. I'm telling you right now, it's all good. Great stuff. So you saw an exciting game tonight. It's just going to get better next week, folks. I'll tell you what. This London-Windsor, call it St. Clair rivalry now, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. A lot of great history between these two teams. London won big today, so you know they're coming in with a lot of confidence next week. St. Clair, obviously, wanting to get back to the chance at the national title. That's what the goal is with this team each and every year. So both those teams will try to take that next step next weekend. Of course, we will be here with all the action. Pre-game show will start at about 6:50 p.m. 7 p.m. will be the kickoff. It's the Beefeaters, the Saints. It doesn't get any better, folks. Final score here tonight, St. Clair Saints 29, the Ottawa Sooners 3. On behalf of everybody here at We Digital Productions, my name is Dominic Pop, and thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.